Commissioner Freeman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman Sublett, how do you vote?
Yes. Moving right along to the approval of the May 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission minutes. Commissioners, President, have you had the opportunity to look over the last commission meeting minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Are there any questions?
Nope.
No.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Move to approve with a second. Is there any discussion on the motion with the second? Hearing none, call the vote.
Commissioner Chavez, how do you vote? Yay. Commissioner Freeman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman Sublett, how do you vote?
Yes. All right, moving right along. Staff reports. Baca?
Chairman, Commissioners. So last week for OEP, we did have the grand reopening of the Del Rio Senior Center down in Rio Communities. That was a really popular event. We had a lot of people turn out for that. It was a really good show. Commissioner Chavez, we appreciate you getting a chance to make it down there. And also last night, the Board of County Commissioners held an emergency meeting and they did declare the current fires as an emergency. So there has been an emergency declared. So that allows emergency management to get funding for these types of emergencies. It allows them to get federal and state funding. So it was declared yesterday as an official emergency here in Valencia County. You guys are all aware of what's going on, I'm sure, here in the Bosque. So I don't think we need to get too much into it, but it's good that that happened. That way the funding can start happening and they can start moving forward to remedy everything. Also, one of our longest tenured code enforcement officers, her last day was last Friday. So B. Bell is no longer a code enforcement officer as of last Friday. She's moved on and she is now working still for the county. So we still have her around. She's in the clerk's office right now. So she did move over there. We will have an opening coming up for code enforcement officer also. And no other updates. I stand for any questions.
Mr. Baca, have you heard, are the numbers still the same as far as the fire goes? I believe it was 12 homes were lost. No loss of life, correct?
Chairman, Commissioner is correct. I didn't hear anything as far as injuries or loss of life. There were, I believe, 12 or 14 structures, right, as well as a few additional ones that were damaged by the fire, not fully engulfed. So it was pretty significant. It was a large number of citizens, a lot of Carson Park, some of the stuff on the east side north of the Main Street Bridge as well. There was some fire activity out there. So it affected a lot of people. It definitely did. And of course, as everybody knows, there is I don't know if they're still there. Are they still at Daniel Fernandez?
I think so. I saw that.
So I think they are still have supplies and a spot to evacuate to over at the Daniel Fernandez Park as well.
Right, right. So the Village of Los Lunas was gracious enough to provide that for the community, and that was, great on them. And I'd like to give them definite kudos on that. Still worried about. There was a couple firefighters, first responders that had injuries due to the seriousness of the situation. I want to say that they're in our hearts and prayers. So that's another thing. But I think that everything is pretty much being mopped up, and that's good. If we could have had this rain a couple days ago instead of now, it would have been better. But but it's okay. We'll take it while we can get it now. And again, I'd like to give special thanks to all of the first responder and agencies that were responding, including the ones out of the county. It was amazing, the outpouring of help and all that stuff. Commissioners, anything else?
No.
I would like to ask Mr. Baca, do we have anything on the possible change of new pricing?
Oh, that's correct. Yeah, I forgot to make that note on here. So we are looking at that. We're going to start working with the manager's office and as well as the legal department just to kind of see what sort of wiggle room we have there. The prices haven't been updated for any of our permitting fees or any of our land use application fees. Honestly, I couldn't even find when the last time it was changed. So those have been in place for a pretty significant amount of time. The times have changed. A lot of things that we utilize as far as our materials that we have to get out, all of our mailing has gone up. A lot of things have gone up in price, so it doesn't necessarily cover and reflect everything now with the current fees. So it is something that we do want to evaluate. And So we're looking at that and we're hoping to start working with the manager's office a little bit more and kind of get a better idea of what we need to do with their fee schedule going forward.
And that for the public, that's just so that the public is made aware of this, that the planning and zoning is considering a slight increase in the pricing for permitting and coming before the board because like Mr. Baca was saying, the price of mail outs and stuff like that, which legally we've got to do, is just going up. And, you know, the bit of inflation that has hit us in the last few years, it hits the county as well as it does the population. And so we have to adjust those pricings because it's just getting ridiculous. We're not doing this to make money here at the county, definitely not. But we're doing this and we want to maintain the high statute of excellence that we have now with all of the people that work here. And so in order to do that, it may increase pricing, but it's just being looked at this time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Anything else?
Chairman, Commissioners, nothing else to report. Stand for any questions.
Excellent. Any questions from the commissioners?
Nope.
All right,
Motion.
moving right along, let's go to item number 6, swearing in of participants. So anybody that's here that is going to, is a petitioner or is here to give testimony either for or against, or just to give testimony on any of the action items that we're going to be referring to today, I need you to stand up, raise your right hand, and we got to get you sworn in. So just please repeat after me. I state your name.
Hi, Ryan.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. All right, thank you. Excellent. Moving right along, we are going to go to our action item 7A, conditional use number 2025-051, District 4, P and Z Commissioner, Sublet, Board of County Commissioner Bazell. Mr. Baca.
Chairman, Commissioners, before you this afternoon or this evening is a conditional use number 2025-051, District 4, P&Z Commissioner Sublet, BOCC Bazell. Rhonda Sanchez requests a conditional use for a temporary secondary dwelling for a family member requiring special care. Legal description, subdivision land of Jesse and Penny Aragon, tract 3C1 space M222321, also known as 41 San Eligio, Los Lunas, New Mexico, 87031, UPC 1010032295450, followed by 6 zeros, currently zoned Rural Residential District 2, RR2, and I stand for any questions.
Mr. Baca, when we were given the packets, the last thing that was sent out, I believe it was yesterday evening, was the departmental reviews.
Yes, sir.
But when I received mine, I could not open them for some reason. So.
Oh, okay. You should have a copy in your packet. If not, I have one here. Did everybody else?
I haven't looked through this packet. I'm
Oh.
just saying that the one that I received at, but if you could refer that to me real quick.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, Chair, you do already got it.
Thank you. Yeah, here we go. That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is Rhonda Sanchez? Go ahead and sign in and state your name for the record.
My name is Rhonda Sanchez, and we have property that is also known as 41 San Eligio, Los Lunas, New Mexico. It is very exciting to be here today, and I thank you for your time. I am formally requesting permission to build a permanent residence on our property located at 41 San Eligio, Los Lunas, New Mexico. We are requesting to keep a small, single-wide mobile home that is not on a permanent foundation to be used as a caretaker home for the purpose of keeping this additional dwelling is to provide an on-site accommodation for the care of our elderly mother and father. My mother is 80.
Hold on just a second. I just want to ask you a question. Real quick.
Okay,
So you're Rhonda Sanchez,
yes.
and you said that you're the owner.
Yeah, myself and my husband, who is here for support.
Okay, but on land ownership, it's got Jesse and Penny.
No, that is the legal description of the property. We have owned the property since 2000, well, we developed the property in 2008, but we owned it for about 5 years prior to that, saving to develop the property. The legal description is very long and lengthy, but it is only the legal description of once Penny and Jesse Aragon once owned the property, and they subdivided their property to all the neighbors who now reside around us.
Mr. Baca verified?
Chairman Commissioners, that is correct. So the name of the subdivision is Land of Jesse and Penny Aragon. Current owners, according to the assessor's records, are Mario P. Sanchez and Rhonda L. Sanchez.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
All right. The purpose of this residence will be, the permanent residence is designed to comply with all local zoning regulations and building codes, ensuring minimal impact on the surrounding environment and community. This property is a 1 acre plus lot, and I'm prepared to go over any necessary plans or applications or permits required for the approval. I'd like to bring to your attention that the reason that we're doing this property, the caretaker, is for my mother and father. My mother is 82 and is now in the early stages of Parkinson's. The dignity of life for the elderly and taking care of our elders is rooted in respect and compassion. As individuals age, they deserve to be treated with kindness and appreciation for their contribution to society, family, and community. Ensuring their dignity means providing them with proper care, independence, and the opportunity to engage in meaningful life. When putting this package together, I seen on your land use request checklist that there are 3 main areas that I would need to emphasize, and that is my responsibility to show through either written evidence or oral testimony that the request satisfies all the applicable requirements for the zoning operations. And in the packet, you can see that we have the pre-construction elevation certificate through Anchor Engineering. We got that done. We also have the on-site liquid waste system permit. We got that done as well. And if there is anything else that we need to do, we will be more than happy to do so. Our contractor to build this modest 2-bedroom home is Bejar Construction, Brandon Harmio, who is a local contractor that will be building the facility and using, to the best of my knowledge, as many local builders as possible. Also on B of number 10, it says to propose the use is is in policy with the provisions supplied in your comprehensive plan, which is available online. And we have studied it. And on page 22 of 95, the last paragraph of your limitations or issues with current zoning, it says, finally, secondary or accessory dwelling units are not addressed clearly in the existing zoning code, though such uses are described in communities with housing needs and aging populations such as Valencia County. Secondary units are increasingly common requests land use among Valencia County landowners and should be considered as part of a zoning code update. And we fall into this category, and it made me feel really good and gave me strength knowing that we are not alone in this. And also on page 36 of 95, the last paragraph, the first sentence says senior housing was indicated as one of the highest needs within county according to the community survey. So this also, I feel, pertains to us. And lastly, I'd like to point out in the housing goals and action items on page 40 of 95 of your of the Valencia County Comprehension Plan, it says the goal 1 is to promote a variety of housing types within the county to ensure the availability of wide variety of quality housing. And number 1 is encouraging variety of housing types that maintain the rural concepts such as single family, cottage developments, and duplexes, and accessory dwelling units outside priority growth areas, which is where we are. We live on a dirt road. So this, I also feel that that pertains to us. And the third thing that we needed to show was that the land or the structure is appropriate in considering the surrounding land use, the density and the pattern of development in the area. And as you can see that our property does the proposed use and structure fit well with the concept of the surrounding area. The proposed development aligns with existing land use patterns and complements the surrounding built environment. This is a nice small home that will be on a permanent foundation. Nothing else on our property is on a permanent foundation that cannot be, this is not a forever situation. Like I said, my mom is 82, and we just need a little bit of help to get her through these, through this time. And now I am ready to take any questions you might have, or I can elaborate on anything that I've already said. I also want to point out that, that I have taken on the responsibility of caring for my elderly parents. I have managed their daily needs, appointments, and their overall well-being. They are still able to take care of themselves. The problem is my mother is starting to use a wheelchair, and if she falls, the only way she can get up now is if they call an ambulance to get the paramedics to lift her up. Where if she was on our property, we would just have to go over there if, heaven forbid, she was to fall. And we've had that situation happen twice so far.
So is this the overhead of that property?
Yeah, could we get that up?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I was curious as to existing structures.
I was gonna call on it, but I'm writing a bunch of notes. Okay. Let me zoom in, Mr. Baca. So, Ms. Sanchez, can you see that on the screen?
Yes.
That's your property that you're,
Yes, and I thought it was going to be more up to date We have removed the fence that goes across and the structures that are all there. We used to have goats, and that's what you're looking at right there. It's a bunch of goats.
Sure.
They have been sold, and the property has been cleared to accommodate the house, which will be sitting in the back area there. Everything in front of it is gone now. That's all gone. I'm sorry you do not have an updated picture of that, and I do not have one at this time.
Is that a mobile home that's there right now? Is it gone also?
That is correct. No, that is where we are setting up the caretaker facility.
Well, it sounds like you've done your homework.
They told me you better be prepared, and I wasn't sure what that would entail. So I've also brought a lot more paperwork if you need it.
Okay, no, if you, you're very prepared, okay? But you're asking for a conditional use.
That is correct.
And you understand that if you were to get a conditional use, it would be reviewable for every 2 years, correct?
That is correct.
So you're planning on putting a permanent foundation with a permanent home under a conditional use that after 2 years, this could be taken away from you.
Okay. I was under the impression that what would happen is the mobile home that is not on the permanent foundation, when it is through, could be hauled out of there. And that's what would be taken.
That's what the conditional use is. It's not the permanent home.
It's not the permanent home. It is
No,
the,
but you're making a permanent home,
yes,
correct?
yes,
For your parents.
No.
no. The permanent home is for me and my husband. It's our retirement home.
So then you're making a permanent home and you're putting your parents into
The mobile home.
mobile home.
Mhm. So that we could be close to help them.
So
You're
the-
doing all of that on 1 acre of land.
It's a 1 acre plus lot, yes.
How much plus?
They'd never have said exactly what the plus is.
So you're putting 2 homes,
Yes,
1 acre plus.
yes. And I was informed that I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you, but I was informed that you could put actually up to 3 homes on a 1 acre lot. That is what my builder said.
Chairman Commissioners, that is not accurate. However, a secondary temporary residence is allowed in a rural residential area as long as there is a minimum of 0.75 acres.
But the second one would still be considered the temporary one.
So in this case, this is still going to meet. So the mobile home is considered the temporary structure, and they're going to be building the permanent structure. Usually it's the opposite. Usually somebody's already got the permanent foundation and the permanent home sticks or site built home on the property, and they pull in a temporary trailer. This still meets those same qualifications. The order is just a little different. The temporary home is there and they're going to build the permanent residence. After the conditional use of the secondary home is no longer needed, or if something happens where they're not meeting the standards of what that temporary secondary home is allowed for, then it will have to be, that mobile home will be removed at the expiration of the conditional use. So the permanent home will stay on the property and the temporary mobile home will be removed at the end of this conditional use if approved by the commission tonight.
Ms. Sanchez, what's the time frame of building this home?
We would like to have it done before Christmas.
So 6 months.
Yes.
That's what you're hoping.
We're hoping. We're hoping.
Your builder, has he given you a guesstimate on what the time frame would be?
Yes. And
What is that?
He says is if we can get the permitting, he will get it done as soon as possible.
What
He
is
is-
as soon as possible?
Oh, within 6 months. We're hoping to be done within 6 months. It's just the funding is all there. And once we get the permitting done, the only permitting that he needs to do after this, to the best of my knowledge, is the state. And he is under the impression that he will have no problem with that, that the new home will pass all those.
Chairman,
requirements.
Commissioners, I just want to provide clarification there. If approved tonight, we do still need to go through the next step, which will be a construction permit for the home.
That would be
And that will
fine.
come through the county and the state.
Yeah, and my builder will be doing that. This
Which
is,
could take 3 months.
okay.
So is he going to be able to get it built in 3 months? Yes or no?
Oh, yes, definitely,
okay,
yes,
So now I'm only going by what you told me.
yes,
Okay. And it looks like you did your homework to a point, but you left out some certain areas.
okay.
So, and the only reason I'm saying this is because you brought this as testimony, so I can say stuff.
All
Your
right,
mother, who is 82 years of age,
that is correct.
okay, and she is Parkinson's.
Yes.
Okay.
Early stages of Parkinson's. We have an appointment to see a neurologist in September. That appointment was made last November. We tried to get her in sooner through UNM, who said that they could possibly have seen her in May, but when they got her file, they end up saying, we'll call you when we have an opening.
But you're doing the conditional use for both your mother and your father,
That is correct.
and how do I say this? I don't want
If,
to be rules.
if my mother is unable to handle living in that home, then I will move her into my home. We are putting a 2-bedroom home together when we only need one, and our home will be handicap accessible.
Look, and I have no doubts that you would do that.
Yeah.
That's not my point. My point is that the reason you came before us and the reason that you're doing this is because you feel that there is a medical need
Yes,
to be close to your parents, which trust me is admirable, and but in the process you're doing things kind of backwards, and even though you're doing it according to code, if in the next 6 months something were to happen, so I guess what I'm saying is, so if you get a conditional use now, you're not going to move your parents in for at least 6 months, correct?
that is correct.
But yet you're saying your parents they have a place there because they're going to be using the trailer
In
Because-
6 months
in 6 months
or sooner.
or later,
Yeah.
because the possibility does exist, correct?
No. If we
Okay.
can get our permits, we can build the home and we can actually move them in. For example, the last
No,
three,
if you get a permit and you build a home, then you can actually move into the home, and then your parents would move into the home that you vacated.
that is
I
the
want it-
plan.
Okay, I want that clear because
Okay.
it's not a matter of you building a home for your parents. It's a matter of you building a home for yourself.
Yes.
And then you moving your parents into the home that you are.
That is
currently in.
correct. And
Okay.
our goal is to get that done by Christmas, if not sooner.
And your goal is to do that, and that is 6 months away, but not necessarily can you guarantee that it can be done that quickly. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
that it's not going to be
Yeah,
done.
I mean, there
Just,
could
but for
be-
semantics, okay? I'm just saying that there is things that could cause problems here. So where do your parents stay now?
They stay in Pueblitos in their home.
Okay? And you're saying that if the parents were closer to you and if they had a fall, you would be able to respond to that quicker than 911, correct?
That is correct.
If they were living
Next to us.
next to us.
Uh-huh.
But if your mother had a fall and she couldn't get to her phone, whether she's calling 911 or your phone number, there's still a delay in service, correct?
That is
Because they're
correct.
not living with you, they're living next to you.
All right, let me explain this. For example, my father just had hernia surgery, and the recovery period was like 6 weeks. For the last 3 weeks, I have spent every night at my mom's home.
And I have no doubt that you did not do that. I've got no doubt
Yeah.
that wasn't done. But what I'm saying is that in what you're testifying to,
Yes.
there's,
Well, there's always possibilities that something could happen. I mean, I would love to be able to have seen the future. We could have started on this 5 years ago, but we can't. So we're doing the best we can with the information that we have. We have saved the money and got the funding, and now we're moving forward.
So the bottom line is, you're living in the trailer now.
That is correct.
You're going to build a house
That is
and
correct.
put your folks in the trailer.
Yes.
That's it.
I understand that. But is the conditional use truly for parents, or is the conditional use a way to build a home for them, and then the use put the parents into the older home?
The trailer?
Mhm.
That's what she's doing.
Am I not going?
No, I think I understand. I was a little bit confused as well when the agenda request said temporary, but then the letter said permanent.
Right.
But I think that's all understandable now. She lives in the mobile home, which is basically a temporary because it doesn't have a foundation, and they'll be building the permanent residence and then putting mom and dad in the mobile home so that they could keep an eye on them. That's pretty much what I understand at this point.
Yes, but then let's say, God forbid, let's say something happened where the parents no longer needed the use of that. So would that mobile home immediately be taken off the property, and then the conditional use would go away? You understand that?
Yes, I do.
So then if something were to happen, and God forbid, don't,
Yes.
but if something were to happen and the parents did not have a need for that anymore, the conditional use goes away, and you've got a fully permitted built home, and you would have to get rid of
The mobile home.
the mobile home.
That was
Because
explained
then
to
that
us.
would be breaking. But
Mhm.
if you didn't do that, and I'm not saying that you're a person that wouldn't do that, but sometimes people are like, well, nobody's going to find
Yeah.
out,
Well,
and we're going to move our kids in now.
yeah.
Or-
With
so
the,
then now you've got a double occupancy of a piece of land that was done under conditional use. And because the secondary, which what you're building would be the secondary building, you're trying to flip-flop it from your primary building, and then you're going to flip-flop it and say, well, the secondary building is now the primary building, and the primary building is now the secondary building, and we got away with it without having to go through a lot of
Well-
plotting or anything like that, which,
the thing is I believe everything happens for a reason. We also have a strong belief in paying and not financing. The reason that the mobile home is not on a permanent foundation at this time is because we bought the land. We saved to develop it. We moved our mobile home from JC Mobile Home Park to the developed property. Next year, I'm planning to retire. And thank the Lord, I'll be able to take care of my family, my parents, who, if all works out, will be living on my property. Yes, my mother is 82, and we believe to be in early stages of Parkinson. But my father has longevity, and I believe he will be living for, at least 10 years. I would like to say my mom's going to be living for at least 10 years. My uncle is 97, and
where does your uncle live?
he lives in Tomei.
Okay.
Tawny Lopez. I don't know if you know
Well, I
him.
mean, I want to know exactly where
Okay.
you brought your uncle up. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, is he being brought over as well? Are you
No,
doing
no,
care for him?
he's 97. He has his own home, and he has caretaker.
Okay, so it's situations like that where all of a sudden it's like, well, I told you guys years ago that my uncle, and it's like,
Yeah, oh no.
oh, wait a So.
No, I'm
You
sorry.
gotta understand, conditional use is, it can be, we've had people come in before and they misuse that. And I don't want to get in that position, because then all of a sudden it puts the county into a position where if it's being misused and then we have to send code enforcement and they're like, no, you got to do this. And you're like, well, wait a second, we've got 2 houses here. And why do we need to do this? It was never explained to us. I'm trying to just get down to the nitty gritty for you.
And I
So then-
appreciate
yeah,
that.
So I
Um,
want you to understand.
yeah, the
I'm
mo-
not saying that you're a person that would take advantage, but
yeah,
temptation is a cruel animal.
but I believe that this permit is reevaluated every 2 years.
Yes.
So that would be reevaluated every 2 years.
And
And
that's why, in
yeah.
order for us to properly make a good call on this, that we want to know like every little itty bitty nitty bitty thing.
Okay.
And by you having your homework done, that's great. But also it brings up questions because you had your homework done, so you should know better than this. So there's other things that you had mentioned in page 40 of the Valencia County Comprehensive Plan. You'd mentioned the proper building of quality homes, that this is something that the county looks forward to doing, and it encourages that type of stuff. And you're absolutely right. The comprehensive plan was just redone a few years ago, first time in like 15 years.
Yeah.
And so the county and all the officials here, they did a tremendous job in making sure that it was done right. And so we've all read it, and so it's like our Bible. So that's why we're so conscious about. You're absolutely right, Ms. Sanchez, and that's why the rules are the rules. So
Yes.
when people come in for a conditional use, we're like, okay, you really,
Then may I ask this, would that 2-year period, would it start when the home or the secondary dwelling is,
as soon as you get the conditional use.
so that would start possibly even tonight?
It would start when you get the conditional use. 2 years later, you would be required to go under review.
We would have no trouble doing that, sir. I want you to know that.
Okay. Commissioners?
No, I understand. I got a good picture of it.
I understand too, and I want to commend you for taking care of your mom and dad. I had to do something very, very similar, and it's tough. It's very, very tough. I think we want to protect not only your neighbors, but the citizens of Valencia County, and make sure that we have a clear understanding of what this use would be. And that's why we're asking a lot of questions.
Certainly.
Is there anything else, Ms. Sanchez, for now?
No, I think that's. if
I
we
did
were-
not mean to upset you.
Oh, no.
I know
it's
that.
just emotional and.
Yes, it's okay. So we're going to continue on with this, and we will call you back up in a few, okay?
Thank you.
And if you need anything we can get you, if you need a water or tissue.
No,
or
no,
something
no.
like that, okay?
Some soda. And I wanted to thank my husband also for coming. I want you to know that he supports me fully in this endeavor.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone present wishing to come forward and speak in favor of the petitioner? Again, I'll ask if there's anybody present in the audience that wishes to come forward and speak in favor of the petitioner, please raise your hand. Seeing none, is there anybody present wishing to speak against the petitioner? One more time, if there's anybody present that wishes to speak against the petitioner, please raise your hand. We'll bring you forward. Seeing none, commissioners? Any discussion?
I think I understand exactly what she's doing.
I understand what she's doing.
It's commendable.
And it is. It's
I
very
totally
commendable.
understand the reverse that's going on there because of having the mobile home there to start with.
Right,
But
right.
when it all shakes out, it'll be a permanent residence,
Mhm.
and the mobile home is for her folks, and under the two-year condition
There you go.
we'll
Yeah,
use.
yeah. And then,
It's that simple.
Reevaluated after 2 years.
yeah, and then whenever that need is not required anymore, then they
Yeah.
can get rid of that mobile
Mhm.
home, and then they've still got a nice little landstead, and they can continue their lives and stuff like that.
Yep.
Mhm.
So we good that, on that?
No questions.
Ms. Sanchez, would you like to come forward? You need a few more moments?
No, I am fine, thank you.
Okay. So we are of the understanding that you are currently living in the mobile home located at 41,
San Eligio.
yeah, San Eligio, and that you are looking for a conditional use so that you can do a stick-built with foundation, a permanent home, and you will be moving into that home and you will be providing um, the mobile home that you have on there to take care of your older and impaired adults. So,
That is correct.
okay. And then upon no longer having that need to care for them, once that is done, the conditional use will go away and you will vacate the property of that home while maintaining the permanent home.
That is correct.
Okay, so do we got this straight?
Mhm.
Okay. So, this being in my district, I make a motion to approve.
A second.
It don't matter.
Okay, there's motion to approve with the second. Any discussion on the motion?
No discussion.
All righty, call the vote.
Commissioner Chavez, how do you vote?
Yay.
Commissioner Freeman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman Sublett, how do you vote?
Yes, Ms. Sanchez, I applaud you for your concern and love for your parents, and that's
Thank you.
very nice.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. Action item 7B, variance number 2025-052, District 3, P and Z Commissioner Moran, Board of County Commissioner Sparkman.
Chairman, Commissioners, before you this evening is a request for the variance number 2025-052. This is District 3, P and Z Commissioner Moran, BOCC Sparkman. Ernest Pat Barajas requests a variance of 11 feet to the 15-foot side yard setback requirement. Excuse me. Side yard setback requirement for an accessory structure to be placed at 4 feet from the side property line. Legal description, subdivision South Salito Estates, Lot 76A, Block 7.91 acres, D 436, 2000 revision, also known as 4 Manana Place, Belen, New Mexico 87002, UPC 1006 025 090 470, followed by 6 zeros, currently zoned Rural Residential District 1, RR1, and I stand for any questions.
Do we have the petitioner available?
Mr. Barajas.
Ernest? Please come forward, sign in, and state your name for the record.
My name is Ernest Patrick Barajas, and I
Just a
do,
second, Mr. Buck. There, the bottom.
Yep.
I just want to get a quick look.
Oh.
Go ahead, sir.
my name is Ernest Patrick Barajas, and I do live at 04 Calle Manana Place in Belen, New Mexico. And the reason for my being here is for the variance hearing. I do have 1 acre on the lot is to protect my fifth wheel in my investment. I just want to make a shelter for it, plus a shed right there on the side. I do own the north and the south lots. There's 1.9 and 2 acres on each side. I don't plan on selling them. They're gonna be given to my kids, so the last one that's in my family, they'll have to do what they want with it. But that could be, I got a grandson that's 2 years old, so I just want to protect the investment of my travel trailer fifth wheel, because it sits out in the sun a lot, and I keep putting tarps on it, and the wind just tears them up. and blows them across to Mike Meckenbuyer's pecan patch. And I don't have the room to put it around the house. And the only place I can put it is where I started planning on putting it. If I do get permission to put it there, that would be nice. The reason for I don't have the 15-foot from the property line is that I got a low hanging power line. That's why I have to go back with the structure. I did call P&M and they told me that that wasn't the problem because it was at the weatherhead. And I didn't understand that. So
That it was what?
it was at the weatherhead at the house.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay,
that,
okay,
that power line is hanging like that. And I told him it blows back and forth in the wind.
okay.
So I had to set the building back. That's why I have 4 feet from the property line forward. But if I would give the 15 feet forward, that would put that power line right on top of the structure. My fifth wheel is 12'4" high. So I need to get it back so that it wouldn't be right underneath the power line. And I just, there's just nowhere. I got a 31-foot fifth wheel. I can't take it around the house because I got a 30 by 30 shop in the back. I won't be able to make it around. So it's basically has to go right there in the front. And I do have my 60 feet from the road to the structure. And I do have over 30 feet from the structure to my house. And the way it's positioned, it is going to be from the north side facing south, and I come in through the driveway to I have access to put it in. So when we do use it. And pretty much that's basically, I just need that permission. I'm just hoping that we can do it.
Mr. Baca, can we get an overhead view of this, please?
Excuse me?
I would,
Oh,
You say you own lots on either side of your property?
so I own the whole top block and then my neighbor owns the back. So there's really no neighbors around me except for these people right here, they own the other side. But,
so what you said you own the plot, the one to the north and to the south.
and the south. So my house sits in the middle.
Right.
And I got 2 acres on this side and 1 on this side. So I'm in the middle, so I do own both sides, the north and the south.
And in order to access where you're putting that, the RV and the shed, where is your access point going to
Right
be?
straight through the driveway of my house.
Okay, so you're not having to come
No.
off the road from
No.
any other,
No,
your
sir.
RV, you're going to pull into your
Yes, sir.
primary property and then pull into the secondary property.
Yes, sir.
which is what you call it.
And I don't want to encroach on either sides of the land. I just don't want to do that because then I'd have to be moving fences and then I'd have to get it resurveyed. And it's just a big old headache. So I do have access to the shed and to the covering through my driveway. I got 125-foot driveway. So on this side is where I'll be backing up and it'll just go straight into the covering. And then I'll just come back out, straight out onto the street and be on my way.
Can you zoom out just a hair, Mr. Baca?
Excuse me?
I'm
Oh,
talking.
okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm losing my hearing.
So the variance that you're looking for is the variance that is going to be up against your other property, right?
Yeah, I read
so
the
I mean,
property.
yeah, so, okay.
Yeah, so I guess I'm shy of 11 feet from meeting the code of 15 foot.
What's to keep you from putting that, if it's just a cover for your fifth wheel, putting it on that north property? And you don't need to resurvey or anything if you own that.
Chairman,
And-
Chairman Commissioners, that would not be an allowed use of that property.
Oh, it wouldn't,
No, it would need a primary use that's permitted, which would be a residence.
I see.
And plus, sometimes you get these guys going out there just cruising around and just seeing what they can see. And I paid a lot for the fifth wheel. I just want to protect my investments. And there's been a little bit of a break-ins over there and I don't want me to be in my house over here. Well, that is in the other property and not knowing what's going on over
No, we can't do it anyway, so.
there. Oh, okay.
And that's a fence that you have in between those two properties, correct?
Yes.
And you
there's-
said that you didn't want to have to
It's all
do the
fenced off.
fence and all that in anyway.
Yes.
So your variance is, you're wanting to put this, RV.
On the property that I have my house on.
On your primary property, but you want it within the 15 feet, you're asking for 11-foot variance. So it's gonna be 4 foot away from the property line and away from the fence.
Yeah, because I'm short the 11 foot because of the power line.
Right,
I
power.
just wish P&M would be more cooperative and just say, well, we'll just pick it up so that you can go ahead and meet your code of the 15 foot, but on and behold, they didn't do that.
Ernest, it's going to be a pitch roof, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's the low part of the pitch roof?
It's
How
going
high?
to be, like 13.
So about 13 on the low side,
Yeah.
and the height?
It's
at
going to
top-
be 14 foot high at the center.
Center is 14, edge is 13. So
Yes.
it's almost flat, really.
It's pretty much
Pretty close.
maybe about like this.
Okay.
Because I got the two air conditioners on top of the fifth wheel with those measure out to 12'4".
Okay, and the power line, Mr. Baca, do you know exactly where that power line is, where it starts and where it goes?
That's his service is what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
Chairman Commissioners, I'm not familiar with that line.
Okay.
Can you zoom in and see if we could see the pole? It's gotta be,
It's going to be, you see where the fifth wheel is at now?
yep,
Right there where it says Mañana Place right there?
Yep.
There's where my pole is for the weatherhead. And it goes directly straight across to the west, almost like to the west. And the street is running this way. So that pole and transformer are right there where the two come together on my property. Where the house is at. Right there is where the pole's at. And then it just comes down and it just hangs down. So every
you're
time.
talking
that I-
about, so your transformer, your feeder pole is right there on the road, which is, it would be just north of your driveway.
It's out, actually, yeah, just north of it, right there at that corner.
So can you bring the pointer down, Mr. Baca?
Corner of the property line?
No, no, down. Yeah, so it's right in, a little bit further, right there.
No, it's way over there. now.
The other one.
Right up there somewhere, right about, right there.
Right
Up in there?
It's almost straight to where, Four Mañana is. I would say it's a little bit higher. Yeah, that's about right there.
Okay, so it's coming across.
Go
So he
across.
still has to drive underneath the power line in order.
Yeah,
to
every
get there.
time I take that fifth
So-
wheel out, I gotta get my pole to pick up the wire so that my wife can drive it out. Every time I pull it in, it's gonna be the same thing. But either way, we're gonna have to pick it up. I just want to protect my investment of putting that structure right there.
Ernest, what's to prevent you from going parallel to the, what is
Over
that?
here this
The
way. We
west
wanna do
property
it
line?
like we wanna do like a pasture out there because we have cows and we just moved them off on the other side, but we want to do a permanent pasture for agriculture on that side. And we want to put fruit trees up in here. And it's gonna be too hard for me to back it up over there because where the fifth wheel's at now, I'm gonna put a pipe fence there, so there's not gonna be any access to the backyard. I won't have the room to pull it up and pull it back in there. It's 31 feet. And if I put it where I'm wanting to put it there, I can enter the driveway. You see where that car is right there in front of the grass?
Mhm.
I can go ahead and make a wide turn and come back down onto that concrete right there and back it straight up into it.
Ernest, I'm a little bit confused because it looks like you have plenty of areas to put this RV, and I understand the power pole and the proximity to where the RV cover may be. But I know you'd like to plant some trees and other things. But to me, that's not enough satisfaction to give any kind of variance when you got plenty of other areas to put that.
I just won't
Convince-
have the room
convince me
to back
otherwise.
it up.
Or-
Instead of,
I just won't have the room to back it up if I go in, because I'm gonna have a fence separating the backyard from the front yard.
instead of asking P&M to increase the height coming off of the transformer, couldn't you bring in an electrician and increase the height of your utility pole next to the house? And then that way it brings it up that way.
Yeah, but I already got an estimate and that's almost like $3,500 for him to do that. He has to take out the power box out of the garage and put me a new power to a weatherhead up. And then he has to connect it. So it's almost the same price as putting me the shed there.
And what's the value of the RV?
$35,000.
So for a 10% investment,
So I'll be spending double putting the weatherhead higher plus putting the structure on the other side. And I'll still be in the same situation because I won't be able to put it in because it's pretty long. I won't be able to turn it to get it into the structure. This other way, I can come in and go over and turn around and come into where that car's parked in the front and then just have a straight shot straight back.
so then by what you're saying, it's not out of necessity, it's also for ease of use.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that.
It's not necessity that you're asking for the variance, it's also for the ease of use. It'd make it easier on you versus it being a necessity.
Well, I would say that it's a necessity to protect my investment, but yet it make it easier for me to be able to pull it in and out. So it could go both ways. Protecting my investment would be a necessity because once it stays in the sun, like I'm saying, I've already went through 4 car covers and they're $495 a piece.
Oh, I understand that. I'm not questioning your
Yeah,
on that. I'm not questioning that. But what I'm saying is that, so like you just said, yes, for ease of use because it's easier to pull in and out, but for safety, but you're not building an entire garage. You're just putting a
Just-
carport.
just to put it in there.
So the carport, you're saying it's for safety, but safety against the UV rays that are hurting the RV,
Mm-hmm.
not safety against wild animals, vandals, because they would still have access to it.
Well, I'm gonna put me a door in it. Plus, we got a lot of squirrels and mice out there. And the mice and the squirrels like to chew up wires.
But the patio or the cover that you're putting up, is it with walls and everything?
It's gonna be covered. It's gonna be with pro panel and steel structure covering. Yes, I'm gonna enclose the whole thing. It's just not gonna be a roof and the sides are open. It's gonna be a totally enclosed structure,
And how much is that structure gonna cost you?
close to about $8,000.
I thought you said 3,500.
No, that's for the weatherhead to pick it up.
That's the value of the RV.
Is the weatherhead on your home or
Yeah.
on a pole?
No, it's on the house.
It's on the
It
house.
it goes
Okay.
straight down into the garage to the power, where all
Yeah.
the fuses are.
And how tall is that?
But the house,
How
well,
far?
it's like 8, I would say about 10 feet. From the very bottom of the roof, I would say about another 2.5 to 3 feet. So we're talking what, 8 foot to the top underneath the easement, the eave, and then about another 3 feet, 2.5
Yeah,
feet
the
up.
point of attachment has to be 10 feet.
Yeah, so, but it doesn't have to be 10 foot. It could be 12 foot, it could be 14 foot, right?
Minimum is 10 foot.
Yeah, so,
What he's got a problem with is where P&M is supplying him that triplex to his house.
yeah.
It's long enough that there's a belly
roof.
in the wire.
Yeah,
And that's his problem.
right. So, but if you increased the height of that, that would, I mean, it would still have a belly on it, but it would also increase.
And my
the height.
reason being here is that I want to go legally and I want to be able to get it with the permit so that I don't have the problems. Everything that I've built on my property, I went through the state, I've got my permits and stuff with, here at Valencia County, and I've taken them down to the state of New Mexico off of Oakland. And I've had it permitted and I've had it done right.
We appreciate you doing it the
Yeah,
right way.
and there's people over there that they just don't care. They go and build everything they want to, and that's on them. I know that God knows what I'm doing is what's right, and this is why I want to do it. I want to do it right. If I get approved, great. If I don't, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to figure out something else.
Appreciate you doing it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Any more questions for him right now?
No.
Mm.
Okay, Mr. Barajas, go ahead and have a seat. and-
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anybody present wishing to speak in favor of the petitioner? Go ahead, come on forward and sign in, state your name for the record.
We already said that, Dan. Well, my name is Terry Maynard, and this is my wife Karen. We own the property straight across from his.
Across the road
Yes, sir.
to the west,
Could you put that picture back up, Mr.
the
Baca?
west.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be towards the west, yes.
So there's vacant properties between you and from the road, and then that's your house.
We don't have a house. It's just a piece of land right there straight
Oh,
across
okay,
from him.
okay.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
just a road separating us.
Okay.
Got it.
all right, got you.
What's
Go ahead,
that?
sir. Go ahead, Terry.
Okay, all I wanted to say is, we have no problem with him doing any of that. I mean, he's done, like you said, he's done everything according to, all the proper licensings and laws and everything he's done. I think it would be, if nothing else, an asset to him, and it would improve his property, if anything else. We have no reason to have any complaints or concerns about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else present wishing to come forward and speak in favor of the petitioner? Hearing none, is there anybody present wishing to speak against the petitioner? One more time, anybody wishing to speak against petitioner, now's opportunity to come forward. Okay, hearing none, commissioners?
No questions.
I'm good.
Okay, this isn't my district, so I'm gonna let one of you make the motion if a motion is, did you want him back forward, or do you want to?
Yeah, why don't you just come on back up, sir? I don't have any more questions for him. I think I get the good picture of it.
And you,
I don't have any more questions either.
I have no more questions either. Do we hear a motion?
I move to approve.
There's a motion to approve
I'll second.
with a second. So there's a motion to approve with a second. Any discussion on from the commissioners?
I don't have any.
Hearing none, call the vote.
Thank you, guys.
Wait.
Commissioner Chavez, how do you vote?
Yay.
Passed yet.
I'm gonna call that one more time. Commissioner Chavez, how do you vote?
Yay.
Commissioner Freeman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman Sublett, how do you vote?
Yes, all right.
Now
Thank you. It's been 2 decades that I haven't sat in front
Okay.
of anybody without being in trouble. Just a little nervous.
Oh, no,
You're good.
We're just thorough, that's all. We're
No,
very.
I appreciate that.
So-
You know, it's a good thing to be thorough.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Move- Moving right along. We're going to, action item 7C, conditional use number 2025-053, District 1, P and Z Commissioner Aguilar, Board of County Commissioners sites. Mr. Vaca?
Yes. Chairman, Commissioners, before you this evening is a request for the conditional use number 2025-053, District 1, P and Z Commissioner Aguilar, BOCC Sites. Laura Essenmacher requests a conditional use home occupation to operate a dog training / boarding facility. Legal description, subdivision land of the Essenmacher Revocable Trust, Tract C3B1, Section 22, Township 7 North, Range 2 East, 2.00 acres, Plat N740, also known as 1435 Cinder Lane, Los Lunas, New Mexico, 87031, UPC 1010039374043, followed by 6 zeros. Currently zoned Rural Residential District 2, RR2, and I stand for any questions.
Thank you. Do we have the petitioner here? Go ahead, come forward, sign in, and state your name for the record, okay? Thank you.
My name's Laura Essenmacher.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
My name is Laura Essenmacher.
Go ahead, whenever you're ready.
Um, I'm here today to ask for a conditional use permit to use this piece of land. It's under the Essenmacher Revocable Trust. It's owned by my parents, Thomas and Charlotte Essenmacher. And I do have their full permission. In fact, in your piece of paper, in your paperwork, you should have a permission statement from them giving me permission to use the land for this. I'm asking for a conditional use permit to utilize the property where I live, my home property, with my 4 children to establish a family business working with dogs, specifically involving training, boarding, doing daycare, breeding, raising, and training service dogs, and training and placing shelter dogs. I have 4 kids, and I work tirelessly to find a way to be able to support them from home. I receive no child support. They have no father that's any part of their lives anymore. And setting up a business like this gives me opportunity not only to provide and care for them now, but also to allow them to start earning their own income, saving for college funds, and being better prepared to move out into their lives. I won't necessarily be able to pay for 4 college educations, but I can give them the opportunity to save their own money to be able to do it as they come of age.
Laura, do you homeschool?
I did. Yes. I've done a lot already before I came to the point of asking for this. We've made improvements all around that property. I've put up welded pipe fences on all the bordering sides, very sturdy, like horse quality, some of the nicest fences around. I've planted over 40 trees in the last 2 years. We've cleared out all the brush, cleaned the land up immensely. And we've got our stuff set up to where we work with the dogs, to where the pens are mostly in the back area of the property. So my property's at a dead end. You come all the way down the road, my gate's the last gate, and you come in and you come back to my house in the middle. And back behind that, there's nothing behind me but bosky.
Okay. Mr. Vaca, could you bring a picture up for us?
Off to the right, on one side of where I have my dog areas, there's an empty field with fruit trees in it. Off on the,
Excuse me, Chairman, Commissioners. It looks like we have a issue on one of our cameras. Can we pause the meeting for just a moment
Yes.
so I can reach out to Tessa? One of the cameras is frozen, so if you could just bear with me for just a moment.
If you're nervous up there, you can have a seat or, so that's, or if you're fine there, just a little hiccup with the weather and stuff, so.
no
But we
problem.
have to make sure that everything's, broadcast. and
Understand.
So,
It was torrentially pouring out right before I made it in here. I
Yeah.
figured I was going to come in looking like a drowned rat.
yeah, it was pretty bad out there, so.
Chairman, Commissioners, so it looks like just the camera facing the commission right now is frozen. The one facing the podium and the audio are still working on Facebook Live.
Okay.
So we can continue with the meeting. If Tessa needs to pause it for any reason to correct anything on it, I will let you guys know and we'll take a break.
Okay.
But it
as
looks
long
like
as we're
everything's
good.
Yeah, it looks like everything's going okay so
for
far.
public dissemination and
Yeah, so we'll be able to still get the recording of the audio. And right now, there is the podium camera is working. It's strictly just the one facing you guys.
okay,
So
so
Cool.
can
unfortunately, the public doesn't get to see your pretty faces right
Nice.
now.
so can we get the picture of her property up?
Yes, Chairman Commissioners, are you able to view it? I do have it up on the large screens right now.
Yes. Well, we don't have her property up
Oh,
on
I'm
the
sorry.
screen, but
Let me switch it. I
we can
apologize.
see your
There we go.
pointer. And there you
Sorry
go.
about that.
Perfect.
There you
Yep.
go.
And so the area that you, okay, that camera just came back, so that's good. Laura, the area that you're talking about for the dog would be the south
My,
eastern part, correct?
my house is the building right in the middle, basically, of that section. And then towards the back, towards the Bosque, there's a building back there that we keep dog food in, and there's a couple of shelters, the gray shelters. You can see one play yard built off of that.
Right.
And there's a few more play yard pens that are included in the paperwork I submitted to you that are right next to that play yard there and continuing off to the north. But
So,
the
right now-
locations we're setting this up are in between, like I said, a cow field on one side, a fruit tree orchard and empty field on the other side, and the bosque on the back. So there's not a lot of disturbance to, potential disturbance to anybody around. The majority of the time we spend working with the dogs is in our house or in that backyard area. Everything where I put my dogs out, if they're training, if I don't know them, my yard is crossed and fenced and cross-fenced. So if we bring in unknown dogs, they're in smaller pens where if for any reason they were to get out of that pen, they're still fenced within my perimeter fence, which is 5-foot welded pipe horse fencing, good quality. I don't have dogs run large. I don't have them get loose, run down the streets. They're very responsibly cared for. We clean our poop on a regular basis. We clear flies, provide fly control. There's not really any odor or smell from my dogs. The biggest potential concern would be noise. And honestly, there's enough dogs elsewhere around in the neighborhood that bark more than mine do, for sure. We always keep them quiet if we notice them barking at night, or we'll bring them inside. And daytime, yes, they will bark at folks walking the back ditch bank, but that's what any guardian type breed is going to do. But we quiet them if it comes down to, barking at neighbors or, just barking for the sheer sake of making noise. So we try not to be a bother to anybody.
So are you going to be adding kennels?
Kennel buildings?
Yes.
Not in, possibly, but not, I don't have direct plans to do that within the next several years at least.
So the pictures that we were looking at before of I would assume that's like a kennel area. It looks like more like a shed that you have, and then you've got a play area that's in an enclosed play area for the dogs to have a run. And
Yes.
am I getting that? They're still messing with the what you call it. So so I'm trying to describe it for for perpetuity. Okay, so so are you planning to enlarge that?
Not necessarily. That building is four-sided, it's like a three-sided shelter, the back wall, two side walls and a roof.
Mhm.
And there's two of them that face each other,
Okay.
open in the middle to allow for better ventilation during the day, but it provides shade and shelter from the weather, if
Sure.
it's bad. There's a play yard in front of it. That's the most permanent thing that has been built. And that's not only a dog kennel. It could easily go back to being a hay barn or, livestock corral or anything else. The other things that I have put up that are sketched into the paperwork that I gave to you on the zoning map or the survey map will show you the other play yards we put up, but they are cattle panel and T-stake fencing. So it's nothing permanent. It's not buildings, literally just 30-foot square pens that can be opened into bigger yards.
But what
And we'll put
part of what
shelter and
you're
shade.
asking for is for boarding as well.
Yes.
So in the process of boarding the animals, are you going to meet all the requirements set forth by Valencia County and in the process of boarding those animals? So, and what is the maximum amount of animals that you plan on having on the property?
On average, at most, I would expect 20, and that's counting, my own dogs, several old retired dogs, some puppies growing up that are there temporarily or dogs in for training, and then a couple that come in for boarding clients' dogs or training. So the number can vary a little bit, but I would not expect to have more than, say, 20 to 25.
Okay, so, if I'm not mistaken, what, 5 per acre? 5 animals per acre as recreational, or as pets or whatever, I think. But when it comes to boarding process, then we're gonna have to look deeper onto that. But if she's got the kennels and all that stuff, then I'm gonna assume that.
Are you already operating?
I'm getting set up to operate. I've been in the process of building this, bringing it all together, getting it ready to go. I currently have 2 dogs for training right now, but I'm not fully operating.
And besides those 2 dogs, the others are yours?
Yes,
Chairman, just to provide clarification, if it's a residential lot and it's just your individual pet, it is a 3,500 separate square feet of surface area for each dog or cat.
But if we do it
Commercially.
commercial or as a business,
So Chairman Commissioners, that does change things. So in that case, we would have to, as some of the questions you're asking, this is some of the stuff that needs to come out as we're talking about it in order to get all of that out in
Right.
the air, basically. So there is not a set limit on a home occupation conditional use of this nature. It's more how much it's going to impact the surrounding neighborhoods. And then we would need to look back at the review criteria for a home occupation and a conditional use
Mhm.
and make sure that this still falls within those categories and it doesn't overly impact any of the surrounding neighbor.
okay, so if this is animal, it's gonna fall under statute 14 dash something, something, something. I'm sure it's 14 for the animal control, so.
yeah, after I get this zoning requirement for the use, then my next step is to get kennel and permit licensing through animal control.
Okay, so you understand that?
Yes,
That you're
yes.
gonna have. to
And
do
then
that.
they will give me the specific number of, you're allowed to have this many dogs per acre.
Okay, so that's kind of what I was alluding to when I was asking you about the kennel situation.
So I know I have
Not
less,
trying to put the answers in your vocabulary. I was just wanting to make sure that you know
Yes.
that there's going to be further specifications going forward.
yes.
If you get this, then
I've already spoken to them, so I need to do, what I was told is I need to do this first. I need to show that I have the conditional use
Great.
permit to use the land. And then my next step will go back to Valencia County Animal Control, and they'll get me all the permitting paperwork for a kennel license.
okay.
And that covers the amount of numbers of dogs per acre and staying within those limits.
And Laura, it sounds like you're already aware of this is a conditional permit, so every
Yes.
2 years it will be reevaluated. Sounds like you've done this for a while. I love dogs. I've had dogs my whole life. Had a couple of cats. They taste like chicken, but did I say that out loud?
Well, I agree with you. They do.
Yeah. Okay. Just saying. Some concerns I have with that many dogs are this is close noise, fumes, odor, and disturbances to neighbors. I have 2 dogs in the backyard right now, and sometimes when they start barking at night, I got to bring them in, put them in the garage. I'm not sure how you would take care of that so that's not offensive to the neighbors.
Well, for one, I don't want a property full of dogs that just bark their heads off and cause nuisance. It bothers me, and let alone bothering everybody else. And part of what we do is training. So when we bring new dogs in, we do teach them, it's not a free for all. If there's something walking right along the back property line, yes, you can go bark at it. But if you're sitting there in your play yard yapping your face off all day long, that's a nuisance. And I understand that, especially in a quieter residential neighborhood. Nobody wants to hear that all day long. So for one, we train, we teach, we crate train all the dogs when they come in. We teach them to be quiet respectfully. Usually I can walk out the door to my yard, call individual dogs by name. They'll come right back to me if they're barking at something. When it hits close to dusk, we bring the majority of them in. They come in the house with us, so they're not out in the yard barking all night long. And if there is somebody in the yard barking at night that's a bother to anybody, every neighbor that is near me already knows me, has my phone number, and has free invitation to call me. I mean, you can call me at 2:30 in the morning and say, hey, do you know your dog is barking? Keeping me awake, and I will go get that dog, bring it in, and take care of it right away. So we're very on top of being respectful to the neighbors. I mean, one of them is my parents. You know, the other ones I think are here and I like them. I don't want to bother them. So, you know, that's the way I approach things, is to do my best to have it not be an imposition to anybody around me to begin with, and then to be very open and easy to approach. If something is a bother, let me know, I'd fix it.
And dogs, they got to go when they got to go. So what about the fumes, the odor?
We scoop poop every day. I mean, twice a day, every day, we pick up poop. It's bagged, sealed off, removed. We put down fly predators. I don't know if you know what they are. So where there's feces, and this isn't so much for the dog poop, that's probably from the goats. Wherever there is goat feces on the ground, we'll bring in these bugs called fly predators that you release in the piles of the feces. And it's some sort of a little wasp predator that eats fly larvae. So we reduce, or we kill fly numbers before they even have a chance to hatch. And then we have hanging fly traps, and we use fly spray as well. So
Maybe
we
I'm
work
going
hard
to-
to keep the noise down.
Maybe
There's
I'm going to
not
put up-
much odor because we constantly pick up the poop, and we are on top of the fly population.
A little bit off script here maybe, but you're right next to the river. You're going to have a ton of mosquitoes. I live
do.
next to the river.
We do.
Are they going to harm the dogs? Are the dogs going to be any kind of danger to disease, that kind of stuff from mosquitoes?
They're more prone to heartworm because of the mosquitoes, but that's basically anywhere in Valencia, anywhere around the valley particularly. So we spray them with either, you know, fly spray, mosquito repellent every day, the ones that go outside, and we treat monthly, religiously, we treat monthly with heartworm preventative. So as long as they're treated every month, if they happen to pick up heartworm from a mosquito that gets through the fly spray, it's taken care of. They're killed before they can reach maturity and start reproducing again.
I heard you mention 20 dogs, right?
Yes.
So if you've got several of them barking out there, your house is going to get kind of crowded.
My house has more dog furniture in it than it does people furniture.
20 dogs. Okay.
It's seriously, you walk in the door and there's probably $2,000 worth of Roughland crates, you know, big, different colored, bright, good quality crates. There's room for everybody to come in if the weather's bad, and everybody knows to be respectful. In my house, I've got 4 kids and dogs. I can't have it be a zoo. So we are set up to where
Okay.
weather's bad or somebody's being new and being noisy, they come in, they learn their crate training, they learn to be quiet. Most people live in a home that's a little more neat than mine. Mine's clean, but there's always dog hair in it. It's just part of life.
Okay.
Eventually, one day, maybe I'll build an actual kennel building that I can train with. And at that point, I'd hope to be coming back to you guys and showing you more plans. And, you know, here's what I'd like to do to move some of the majority of this out of my home. But for right now, getting started gives myself and my children an opportunity to begin to build a business and support them with making the best of what we've got. I've had 5 years since I got free of an extremely abusive relationship. He's incarcerated, and he left me with not much. And in 5 years, I've rebuilt from not much to the point where I'm ready to stand on my own feet and take care of my own kids, quit renting from my parents. I don't get child support. I don't ask for support from the state for them. I'm proud. and I work hard.
Good for you.
And this is my best effort at doing everything I can for them and giving them the opportunity to where by the time they've been doing this for a couple of years, they're already training dogs as well as I can. They have clients that'll come back in and say, hey, I want Hope to train my dog for me because she did such a good job on the last one. We pull them from shelters up in Albuquerque. We'll take their problem dogs, dogs that they have had bounced back several times. Nobody can take them because they're just out of control. They're not trained. They're ill-mannered. And they'll call us. We'll go take their high drive problem dogs, work with them for 6 weeks, and then we'll place them into a home. Come, sit down, stay, heal, load in a car, get in the crate, sleep quietly at night, go outside to potty. All the manners that somebody needs to take a dog into their home, well-mannered, and it settles and it sticks.
You're like the guy on Saturday morning
We just fix it.
on TV.
I don't have time to watch TV, but we fix it. We take the problem dogs, we put 6 weeks of training into them, and we fix them to the point where they're a joy to live with. And it's a blessing to the shelters. It's a blessing to the homes that get them. We do this for folks who are about to surrender them. And instead of these dogs going to the shelter, they come to us for training and they go back to their homes and all of a sudden they work. We train service dogs for, I have active service dogs working for veterans with PTSD. I have one for a gentleman who is 100% deaf. I have a working dog trained and placed for a triple amputee veteran. He's lost both legs and one arm, and he's got a dog to do PTSD support and mobility assistance for him. I mean, this guy's awesome. He can come home at the end of the night, opens his door, and he tells his dog to clear the house. And, you know, a veteran's always wary about going into a dark room you haven't been in, not knowing what might be around the corner. The dog will go through the house, check every room, turn the light switches on, and come back out and tell him, house is clear, there's nobody in there. And that's how he goes in every night.
I'll be doing.
When he gets up in the morning, his dog brings him his prosthetics to put on, helps him balance when he needs to stand up. I mean,
And you've done all this training for this dog?
yes, I can do amazing things with dogs that
Wow.
make lives people so much better.
Any more questions?
I'm good.
Laura, if you want to take a seat and let us continue on with this, and then we'll call you back up, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anybody present wishing to step forward and speak in favor of the petitioners? One more time, is there anybody wishing to speak in favor of the petitioner? Please step forward at this time. Hearing none, is there anybody wishing to speak against the petitioner? Okay, this young lady. So. Yeah, you're good. Go ahead. Step forward and sign in and state your name for the record, okay?
My name is Tamara Couture.
I'm sorry,
My name is Tamara Couture.
Tamara.
And just to give you some background, because I am so sorry, Laura, but I can't, I can't do this. I am the neighbor with the fruit trees. I've never complained to her. I consider her a friend. I've given her eggs. I've given her veggies from my garden. I'm pretty sure I've given her preserves. I was just talking to her, promising her my next zucchini just the other day. But when I found out about this through a letter, I have to put my foot down. I have to be selfish. And I am not a selfish person. I'm an attorney. I get business owner. I have owned Couture Law for 20 years. I get divorce. I get being a single mom, needing to raise your children and figure out a way to pay for that. I get all of that. I get it. However, I purchased my property 5 years ago, right next to her. I've never complained about those dogs, but those dogs are a nuisance and they're an annoyance at the current number.
Okay, let me just stop you just for a second. I'm just gonna pause you. Can we bring her property up? So you're located north of her property?
I am. The fruit trees are mine, and I have a
Chairman,
story. for
Commissioners,
the
just to
fruit
clarify,
trees.
that is south.
No, I'm sorry, that's right. Her parents are north, I'm south. She's north of me. I'm south of her.
Okay, So we're just doing this for the record so that and so you do
So
have
which
it.
one?
Where you see the arrow, those are her fruit trees. When we moved in 5 years ago, we planted those fruit trees. We got them from the Department of Forestry, attempting to create a sound and light break from those dogs. It's not, it's an empty field because we can't do anything with it. Those dogs are aggressive. If we're trying to, even when we're weeding the apricot trees, they are there the whole time. Sometimes she'll bring them in, but it's not constant, and that's her pets. This picture is not accurate. Those pens that she's put up are a few feet from the fence line. So like a couple years ago, she was complaining that the cochilla along the fence between the apricots and our shared fence were getting out of control. And she was right, because it is extremely unnerving to work that space with those dogs just, rah, rah, rah. I mean, the pets are on the other side of the fence, like a foot away from you if you're trying to clear that fence line. And the ones that I don't know if she's breeding them, boarding them, but it varies, but sometimes there's a lot of dogs over there. And she talks about, oh, we only let them bark for people walking up and down the canal. They're still barking, and it's loud. I cannot describe to you the amount of noise it creates. You cannot sit outside and just quietly enjoy your space. If they hear you, if they smell you, they're barking. And the more dogs are, they get each other going. And I don't want to create problems in the neighborhood. That's why I've never complained to her. This is rural living, right? People have dogs. We have zoning for a reason. I bought a house in a very nice residential area for me and my new husband so we could have our forever home. This is it for us. This is where we want to die. We love this community. I know I'm white as a ghost, but I'm born and raised in Mexican. I'm fourth generation New Mexican. I was raised in the South Valley. I'm a graduate of Rio Grande High School. I'm completely self-made. I grew up in a trailer, worked graveyard shift at Village Inn to get my degrees. And I am the first graduate degree of my family. I'm a lawyer, and I did that myself. No one helped me. I did that. And I buy this beautiful piece of property, moved out of my little 1,500 square foot house in the middle of Albuquerque, so I could have this wonderful space to discover that the neighbor has 1,000 dogs. And I know I understood her to be a breeder, and I was just like, well, this is life, right? You know, but to suggest that she can have 20. I mean, she's claiming she has a couple. I don't think that's accurate. I do not believe that's accurate. I don't know, and it varies. But if you really pay close attention to what she said, she's not a bad person. She's not a bad person, but she's got a very bad idea. If you pay attention to things she said, for example, the problem dogs. Those problem dogs, while she's fixing them, horrible, loud. By the time they're fixed, they go and we get a new group of these horrible, loud, untrained animals that she apparently trains and then moves on. But the reality of, for us as neighbors, is we don't get to know the nice dog. We know the ill-trained, barking, vicious, growly little things that never stops. It's 24/7. So like, for example, she said, all my neighbors have to do is call me and I'll bring them in, even at 2:30 in the morning. I don't want to be awake at 2:30 in the morning calling Laura, telling her dogs are barking. And it would be every night, because they bark every night. We have raccoons, we have skunks, and it's a free-for-all. The river is right there. So I am asking you guys, I know she's had a hard run of it, and I know she's going to be super unhappy with me. I mean, I consider her a friend, but again, I didn't even know about this until I got this letter last week. And you just can't let this happen. You can't take a residential area and stick 20 dogs, 10 dogs, any dogs like this into that space. She can come and go, her children will come and go. I'm stuck with that business next to me for the rest of my life. In theory, she's younger than me. So I promise, none of you would want this business next door to you. And what I should point out are the lights. She has to have security lights. They are so bright. So it's not even just the dogs. Even if the security lights go off, it shines up that property like like an auditorium. I mean, and I understand the concept because those dogs are valuable. I mean, they're beautiful dogs. They're just great, big, huge, black. They're absolutely gorgeous, and they're loud, and they're valuable. And I understand she needs security, and I know she's got this issue with this man that did not treat her well. And I'm sure that probably makes her feel better to have those lights too. But the fact is that it's dog barking, it's lights on all hours of the night. It's find a business, work your business. A lot of us business owners, it's hard, it's rough, but you got to choose a business that isn't going to destroy the lifestyle of all of your neighbors. Her parents don't care, or maybe they do, but those pens are against my property, not her parents' property. And the other neighbors who are going to talk to you about their position, but I'm just asking you to.
Okay, I have a question for you. I'm not cutting you off, but I think
No,
you've
yeah.
definitely
We
made your
just got done.
Okay, so and you're very passionate about it.
It's very frustrating because I feel bad. I feel bad. I am so
Talk to us.
sorry.
Talk to us.
I am so sorry. I don't want to be like this. Dudes, I'm on the Supreme Court's Commission for ADR, for alternative dispute resolution. I don't want to be conflicted with my neighbor, but I also need to be selfish on this one.
Okay, and right now, got to be patient with me.
I'm a talker. I'm a lawyer. Can't help
I
it.
understand. I understand. And I've given you a lot of.
You did.
But I do have a couple of questions
Sure.
for you. Okay, so you said it was a shared fence.
Mhm.
So was the fence up there prior to you? Was the fence up there? Did you guys go in halfers on it?
It was there when I moved in.
Is it a? Okay, so it was there when you moved in. So is the fence is it properly built? Does it keep the dogs out?
As far as I'm aware.
It's well maintained. It's a good fence.
For my own sanity and for the protection of the animals on my property, which are just chickens, I'm a super mellow person. I've got chickens and I've got a garden. I have to believe the animals will stay in. If my chicken goes over her fence, that's my bad.
You had any problems with any animals coming from that property into your property?
Not that I know of.
And you've been there 5 years.
I've been there 5 years. My concern is not so much that those animals are going to come into my property, in my list of concerns. It is the noise, it is the lights, it is the traffic that, I mean, you're talking about customers coming and going, that's going to be a
Can I see that
thing.
map again? So you guys share a property line,
Mhm.
and so the traffic is coming in from the west side.
All right, so. you can
She's at the end of a dead end.
Yeah, you can see her, the dirt road. This is an old
Yeah.
photo. There are fences there that.
Go ahead and zoom in, Mr. Baca.
But you can see that,
Yeah,
that
so
road that leads into her home.
Yeah.
And you can see how that road abuts my property.
Well, it's by your property.
Well, it's not far. It's.
No, and
yeah,
I
it's
understand
not
that,
far.
but it's not on your property, it's by your property.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that.
You don't share that road.
No.
Right, because your road comes from the other direction, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So the front of your house is facing away from her home.
Again, this is I don't even see internal fences on this, so this is no, well, I guess you just can't see it because that has to be more recent. But if you could see more color, there's like gardens around stuff.
Okay, Mr. Baca, can you zoom into the northern area of her property? So as far as you can, is that the closest you can get? So those are the fruit trees in question?
Yeah, where that is, yeah.
That
You
right
can't really
there.
tell, but there are 40 fruit trees that we these are apricot trees, they've never fruited, I don't know that they ever will, the point was not to have 40 fruit trees, I don't know what I'd do with it if it did fruit. We did that to block the lights and hope to reduce the sound, because right on the other side of those trees, see where it's kind of the light area there?
Yes, yes.
That is where, the fences, I don't know
Okay.
what the words are, that's actually where they are now, so when I'm on the other side of that fence, taking them down she asked me to,
Hmm.
weeding the apricots, you know, tending to the land.
Sure. Mhm.
All those dogs. And again, I've never complained about it, accepted it as is today.
Mhm.
But the idea that there's gonna be 5, 10 times as many dogs.
Mm.
That we could be, when we are on our back porch in the evening, wanting to enjoy a sunset, you know, just sitting, getting outside, the dogs can hear us or smell us or whatever they're doing,
Okay, I get that. I
and
get
they're
that.
going nuts.
Okay, I get that. You said 5 to 10 times more dogs, but you're saying that there's more than 20 dogs that she has there now.
No, I didn't say it's more than 20. I said I don't know how many, but it's not 2.
Okay, so well, if it was 10 times more dogs and she stated that she was going to have between 20 and 25 dogs, then it would have to be 2.5 dogs to be 10 times.
Yeah, I have no
You're
idea.
saying it's not 2,
Wait,
more
wait.
than 2. So if it's 5 times more, then it'd be 4 dogs.
Don't know. I don't know. She said she's got 2 dogs right now. And I
No,
want,
she said she had a few dogs now. She hasn't said how many that she had.
okay.
And I'm taking notes and I'm pretty good at
Sure.
this. So, but, and so we don't know how many dogs she has there now.
I have no way.
You know, so,
We mind our business. We try to be good neighbors. We try to be generous, not
and
complain.
it sounds like it, but you know, I want to take everything that you're saying, I want to take into consideration. And, you know, so I'm,
So one of the things that she said that caused me to concern when she was talking is she said she's thinking maybe 20 dogs. But then when she was talking about animal control and talking about the kenneling and stuff, she said, well, I need to see how many I can have. And that was a red flag in my head, because what that tells me is that that 20, I don't know where that number is coming from, but I mean, if you're going to run a business, you want to maximize your business, I would presume. And so I don't have any reason to know that it's really going to be 20. And even if it is
well,
20,
we're
it's
not
still
here
permitted.
to, we're not here to judge how she runs her business. That's something that, you know, but we are here to see if it's a viable option to give a conditional use so she can run a business.
Mhm.
So, you know, you're getting a little, you're putting the horse before the cart before the horse on that one. So, and I appreciate that because I like to hear from, you know, and that's a good thing. But
Well, I mean, that's our concern, is not whether or not she gets a piece of paper from you guys today. Our concern is what happens next. I mean, I personally think it will drive down property value too. I mean, I would have, if I had known that there was a dog boarding place next door in the residential rural zoning, I would, that would be a hard no thank you. And we paid a pretty decent amount of money for the pleasure of living in this community.
so
And
would you consider it residential or would you consider it rural?
I believe it's residential rural.
But how do you,
Chairman, Commissioners, it's a rural residential district.
so how do you, how do you
Conceptualize that?
how do you define your property?
So, or my property or the use of the property?
Yes.
So the use of the property, rural use of the property, is you're going to expect to see larger animals, cows. They have cows, they have goats, they have sheep. I think they're terribly cute. I mean, she doesn't know this, but sometimes when I'm feeding my chickens, I go and I just watch the little baby lambs because they're terribly cute. I expect to hear the llamas in the other property going the other way, donkeys. I love guineas. They're so cute. I've got my own chickens. Raccoons are evil, evil little critters, and they recently decimated my my flock. So I'm down to 7 chickens. But I would expect to find all of those kinds of animals and some dogs. Don't get me wrong, and some dogs. Barn cats. I think that if it's not her cat, it might be her neighbor's. I'm not sure where the cat comes from, but I think the cat lives over in her space. I don't mind the cat. I love the cat. I want to pet that cat. But I expect those things. I do not expect 20 dogs.
Okay,
I expect gardens, farms, alfalfa.
okay.
The fires are tragic because our properties, this is hard to do for, I'm sure, all of us today, because we were lucky enough that we were on the west side of the river. Right on the other side of the river of our properties is the entire evacuation zone.
Right.
So it's been, it's been a rough weekend. So, and I'm sure that we're all kind of going to be a little emotional for you guys, but I just felt like, I thought that I might not get, I thought that I might not get involved in this, that I just deal with it. But part of the fires, the idea that I was going to lose my house, that other people, as I was worrying about losing my house, were actively losing theirs, made me really appreciate and realize the fact that I want to be able to enjoy my property. I want to be able to sit out and not have 20 dogs barking at me. That's not a big ask. Businesses come and go. Children move on and have their own families, but
Okay.
I want to be able to do that in my home, and I can't do that if there's a dog boarding facility on the other side of the field.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. How would, commissioners, anything? Okay, anybody else? No? Anybody else wishing to speak against the petition? Come forward, sign in, state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Nathan Walwork.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Nathan Walwork.
Mhm.
I live with Tamara, just south of the property. I have a concern about the number of dogs and the boarding in particular. Running a dog kennel is normally a commercial C1 zoning, where you would see setbacks and adjacencies and distances from residential properties and structures. Um, My concern is especially with bringing untrained dogs in, having them there for a period of time during which they don't know not to bark, um, and then having that happen constantly. I'm also concerned with the potential for the number of dogs to be set by the animal control provisions, which are normally based on a C1 zoning. And they wouldn't necessarily take into account the zoning of residential rural when they set the limit on the number of animals. So I would hope that there would be some upper bound on the number of adjacent animals, especially the ones that have not yet been trained to be relatively quiet. And I know that dogs aren't always quiet, but when they're trained, they're less noise. I mean, that they're not always trained that well, but my impression is that most of the dogs that she keeps are relatively well trained, but I'm concerned with the ones that will be boarded temporarily and not trained just because someone's out of town and they've got a poorly trained dog that needs to be somewhere, or that she's taking on a training activity for dogs who are not yet quiet. Or guard dogs who are, left to bark at anyone who walks by along the bosque, or the neighbors if they get too close. Those are my concerns.
So what is the number of dogs that you think would be viable?
I think that 20 would be a pretty large number, but I'm concerned that animal control might set a number that's even higher than that.
So what would you think would be a viable number?
My impression is there's perhaps 10 dogs there now. I don't know. It might change. I know that there's at least 2 that I think are their pets that are often outside the kennels. And I haven't happened to go over to look at the number of dogs very often, because if I approach the space, they're barking at me.
So again, what would you consider a viable number of dogs to be on that property?
I would think that that would depend on how well trained they were and whether they were riling each other up.
Okay,
um,
so
but,
do I take that as a non-answer, or
I-
is it you can't answer that? You don't know?
Well, 20 seems pretty high.
Well, I
More,
understand that.
more than 20 would probably be more problematic.
Okay.
Five is probably fine. I don't know.
5 would be a viable number for you?
Yeah, but I don't know how many there are right now or how much it fluctuates right
Okay,
now.
so you say that you think that there's 2 dogs there now that are hurt.
I know that there's 2 dogs there that are full-time there, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how many are coming and going or what those numbers look like in the ordinary course of business. I
So-
would guess that there's somewhere between 5 and 10 over the last few years.
Okay, so currently you would guess between 5 and 10 that she has there now, currently?
That's just a guess.
Are they a nuisance to you now?
Only when we're out in that field trying to use the space. And that nuisance has been reduced because we put those trees in place. But they only have leaves on them part of the year. So in the winter, when the leaves have dropped off, the dogs see us more because they can see through that fence and they consider anything they can see to be theirs. At least that's my interpretation of their behavior. The visual screening, I think, helps when the trees have leaves on them because things that are beyond that, my impression is it feels more like a wall to them. The fence there doesn't have any visual screening on it. And so my impression is the dogs consider everything that they can see to be something they should alert on.
What type of fence is it?
It's a cattle fencing with a 4-inch mesh on it.
Okay, 4-inch cattle fence.
So
And you
2 main bar, pipe fencing, 2 main bars.
And you've been there for 5 years as well?
Yeah.
And at that time, have any of the dogs ever come into the yard or?
No, I'm confident that the fence has kept the dogs on the proper side of the fence.
Okay.
Did you plant the trees?
We did.
Yeah. You planted the wrong kind of trees for a shelter belt. It's a problem.
Well, we're not expecting to get much shade from those trees because they're on the north side of the property. They were intended as a visual screening.
Sure, it's a shelter. It's called a shelter belt, and that's a different kind of tree.
They're Manchurian apricots that we got from the New Mexico Forestry Department. Because we figured that those would provide perhaps the occasional fruit, but also some wildlife habitat in addition to the screening.
And I appreciate you being here today. Have you ever filed or called in for any?
No, I haven't felt the need to do that.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you, Nathan.
Thank you for your time.
Anybody else present wishing to speak against the petitioner, please come forward, sign in, and state your name for the record.
My name is Mark Schneider. I'm also a neighbor in the area. I wrote
Did you
a,
receive a letter from the county?
yes, I did.
Okay. Can we bring his property up?
I had a pre-written narrative that I want to talk to you about.
Go ahead,
So
sir.
it did say good afternoon, but now we're in the evening hours. So my family lives at 1492 Rivas Road. We live adjacent to Laura's house. Our entire backyard shares a chain link fence border. Speaking at this hearing places our family in a precarious position since we are neighbors and we want to continue friendly relations. Although precarious, I'm happy to be given the opportunity to state my family's opinion and concerns. I'm not sure if this is an expansion to be breeding, but I have just found out that it is an expansion that's already in place or how it might change. Either way, I do believe a training and boarding facility directly behind our house may adversely affect our property value. I also have some following concerns. This is a nice, quiet residential neighborhood that is attractive because it is not a business area. There is potential for more lights, increase in vehicles, more people, more dogs, and more noise. There is a higher potential for loose dogs if that is a problem. It doesn't sound like it would be. The potential for problems with people and dogs increases exponentially with more dogs. This may ruin our friendly neighbor relations. I do not want our dogs to become a neighborhood nuisance. I also have 3 dogs in increase in activity from the boarding or facility training that is a fence away. The driveway to Laura's house runs along our backyard. We experienced the boarding of 4 dogs along our fence this spring. The dogs were in their pens longer than the proposed 2 weeks and eventually were not taken out of their cages at night. They became increasingly stressed, and we observed more barking from early in the morning to late at night. The proximity of our house was closer to the pen dogs than the rest of the neighbors. This is not a healthy environment for people on either side of the fence and the dogs in the cages. This was a temporary situation, I understand that, but we do not want to experience anything like that close to our yard. Our living environment would be changed and our property value would potentially be compromised. In conclusion, we want good relations with our neighbors. We do not want a business in a residential area. This includes other types of businesses as well. This is a neighborhood. A dog training and boarding facility is only appropriate when it's located far away from residential neighborhood. I hope I've made it clear and do not want to change our residential living to include a business and the things that go with the operation of a business. Please consider what I have tried to say. And again, it's been said already, would you like this next to you in your neighborhood? And I live, if the map is there, I live to the south west.
Right there.
Right parallel to that road.
Right. But yet you're closer than your other neighbors, but your neighbor to the west, the
Correct.
east of you is
Correct.
closer actually to
Yes.
this than.
We're just worried about traffic coming through that on the road there, and as been stated, lights, traffic, noise, things like that.
What is your definition of that property? Is it residential? Is it rural?
It's, yeah, what is stated by this gentleman is
What is your
residential. My definition is it's residential, not commercial. So in this type of business, you're dealing with outside environment. It's not like a CPA or someone who does interior work for business.
Can you click on his property again?
So my concerns are basically what it's been already
What's the
stated.
size of his property?
My property is 1.5 acres.
1.5 acres?
Chairman Commissioner, that's correct. According to the assessor's records, it's 1.45 acres.
Yeah.
And you said you have 2 dogs, correct?
I have 3 dogs.
3 dogs.
Mhm.
Okay.
And they bark at their dogs. We understand that. I've talked to Laura. Laura's very cooperative about, taking her dogs in, but with more dogs and more traffic and more lights, it just not only impacts dogs, it impacts humans as well and property values. So we, again, like these folks here, we moved in about 3 years ago and we want to stay there for a long time, probably forever. And we would not rather have a business in our backyard.
So are they a nuisance to you currently?
I can hear them, yes, from our property. But they, like Laura said, they're more in the back of her property than further up on that dirt road. But we did experience some temporary housing that she did with some dogs this past spring. And I just don't want that to happen again. I don't know how she's going to expand. She did mention that it's going to be in the back, but I don't really know that, if that's really going to happen. Because 20, if the number goes to 20, then how would you house those dogs, or I don't know where they're going to be kept.
Well, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, that's one of my concerns. I just don't. Yeah, I know we're not
So
talking.
you're concerned about how the dogs are going to be housed?
No, I'm talking more. I'm more concerned about the noise, the lights, and the traffic coming in and out from that area.
How will traffic affect you if your place is accessed by that other road?
Because he's saying that, you see,
It's just
where
a
the
chain
driveway
link
comes
fence,
in,
and there's a road right there.
that's his property down there, right? So where that right angle right there, where where Mr. Baca is.
Yeah.
The
I-
curb
yeah.
right there.
So he's saying that the traffic coming in and out on, is problematic to him via his backyard, correct?
Correct.
And in the time that you've been there for 3 years, in the time that you've been there, have any of the animals that she's had in her property, have they ever gotten into your property?
No.
Mr. Schneider, have you ever called in a complaint about her current dogs?
No, he said he hasn't.
No. Yes.
Okay,
Okay, she'll get
hold
an
on,
opportunity.
hold on.
Second.
We'll give you an
Um,
opportunity, okay?
I'm sorry, I probably forgot that, but.
Yeah, talk to us.
Yeah, I
Okay.
got it.
Okay. So, anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else present wishing to come forward and speak against this? Go ahead, come forward, sign in and state your name for the record. What's your name?
Kathy Schneider.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Um, so the dogs are cane corsos, and to Laura and her family, these are very comfortable dogs, but to us, they are big, aggressive dogs because we are strangers. And that is a concern because I have dogs. They do bark. Our problem is the dogs do run to our fence and bark at our dogs, and our dogs respond. And we don't want our dogs to be problem dogs in the neighborhood. And,
Okay,
and
hold on right there, because I got to look at that map again. Because you're saying that the dogs run to your fence, correct?
they do.
That's weird.
I don't see where their fence is even connected on that.
Yeah, me either.
So,
There's a, you want me to tell you what I'm talking about?
yes,
Okay, so our property is right there where the arrow is.
yes.
And so our backyard is
Yes,
right
so,
there.
Mr.
right?
Baca, could you click on her property again? So I don't even see where the property lines even touch each other. So how can the
There-
dogs run to your fence?
There's only a chain link fence between our properties. So the dogs are nose to nose. Does that make sense?
No, because how does, do you?
Can I go over it?
See where that makes
So
sense.
Chairman, Commissioners, so the Esselmachers, this property as well as this one are both owned by the Esselmachers.
Okay.
So what we're looking at is the home occupation is strictly the one on 1435 Cinder Lane. However, this is a portion of their property as well.
Okay, so then I'm gonna have to address that when I bring her back up.
Yep.
Okay, so, okay, continue.
Okay. So they do run up to our dogs, and there's aggression, so we don't like that. Where their house is, they've got lights, like, I don't know what they are. They're not lights that project down onto their property. They come on to our property. So, and this is just kind of extrapolating. If you have more of a business, if she's going to expand her business, I don't want more lights into our property. We already have that, so we don't want, again, what Mark said is, our fear is more dogs, more people, more traffic, more lights, more noise. Let's see, the dogs, they are, again, this puts us all in a bad situation because very nice people, very nice neighbors. She is wonderful with dogs. She knows her dogs. Her kids are the nicest kids ever. So they walk, they train their dogs along the road, and my dogs bark at them. And that's how they train them, because my dogs, see dogs and they bark. And so she trains her dogs along our area, but that again is our backyard. Let's see. We have lived in our house for 3 years and know that, when we bought our house, we knew that she had a dog breeding business. And at that time, she had a lot of dogs and they were very, very loud. And we personally know somebody that bought a dog from her. So in the past, she had a dog breeding business, and I don't know if she's still doing it. But at that time, there were a lot of dogs. They were very loud. Currently, we don't hear the dogs a lot. So I don't know how many dogs she has.
So
But
you just to verify what you said, currently you don't hear the dogs, right?
I do hear the dogs, but not like we used to hear them when there
Okay.
were a lot of dogs. And again, that is my fear. We've experienced it. If the amount of dogs increase, the noise increases. And when we first moved in, it was loud. I mean, you could, when it was feeding time or if they're agitated in the past, and she has improved her property a lot. At first, there was no fencing between Tamara and Nathan's house and Laura's house.
Mhm.
That horse fencing that they were talking about, there was no fencing because we were going to buy that property and decided not to buy it because dogs did get through. There was no fencing. And my son has been walking
Okay,
along.
hold on a second. Okay. So they've been there in that property for 5 years,
Correct,
but you've been in your property for 3 years.
correct.
But you were gonna buy their property, but you didn't, and that was,
Correct. That was,
and dogs were getting through back then, but you've only been there 3 years. It's not making sense to me.
okay, so let me try to explain it better. So, maybe 2018, we were looking at to buy the, I think it's 1500 Rivas, the property, Tamara and Nathan's house.
Okay,
And there was no fence. And Laura was very, very, very cooperative that we were going to put up a fence together. And at that time, the people that were in the house that were selling the house, they talked about how the dogs would get through because there was no fencing. And it has been improved. And the shelters have been improved. But what I'm saying is at that time, there were a lot of dogs there because there was she was breeding dogs.
this is in 2018.
And yeah, and we decided not to buy the house because of that. There were just too many dogs. And the fence was going to cost too much money to put up. We just didn't want to do that.
But then you go back
And
3
then we
years
bought,
ago
right.
and you
then
buy
the neighbor's
property
house.
right next door,
Right, because the
which
fence,
still borders on the property in question.
correct. Well, it wasn't such a big deal because they did put the fence up. And we're not looking, like Nathan and Tamara are looking directly at the kennels. Our property looks just at the road
Sure.
and her parents' house. So we have a much better view. We're not our aesthetically, what we're looking at is better.
I get it. I get it.
So that's why we bought the property.
Okay.
So the other, let's see. So the dog breeding business, I don't know if that's still going, but that had a lot of dogs and we don't want that to happen again with a lot of dogs. We bought our house, again, we paid a lot of money for the house with the understanding that we live in a residential area. And it is residential. It's a cul-de-sac and the lots are big. I mean, we don't have.
So do you look at it as residential or do you look at it as rural or do you look at it as rural residential? What attracted you to those properties? Because you were attracted to the first one first, but then somebody else bought it. And so then you were attracted to the second one, you come back and you buy the one next door to it, correct? So what attracted you to that property? The residentiality of it or the ruralness of it?
Honestly, and I'm not trying to be like nippy, but truly both. I like to have neighbors. We have such a nice lot. We have sprinklers. We don't ditch water. I mean, it's truly a manicured, like residential lot. So it truly is, the answer is both. You know, we have 1.5 acres, but it is mowed. You know, we have a garden. It's a residential big lot, basically. You know, we have neighbors, you know, we're all out there together with this fire. You know, it is a residential, hardcore neighborhood with big lots. You know, Laura's family has a lot more acreage, but they're still neighbors. I mean, it's still residential. And so you know, to go from a residential to a commercial or a business area is not why we bought the property, not where we want to live. We wouldn't have bought it. We wouldn't.
Yeah, but by your own testimony, you knew that back in 2018 that this is what you said. You said that back in as far back as 2018 that you knew that they were either breeding or that you knew there was dogs there and that you knew there was a breeding or something like that to that effect. So you were aware of that back then. And you said, well, that's part of the reason why we didn't buy the first lot, that and the fact that there wasn't a fence at the time. And then when the fence was put in, then the property next door, the first property that you looked at was already bought by these neighbors. And so then you go back and you're like, well, I'll get the property next door. So then what made it where your concerns were overlooked?
I get it. Why was it okay to buy?
Right. Why was it okay the second time?
Okay.
And when you're using it as
Right.
using it as an excuse the first time, then the second time it's not an excuse because you go and you buy, and then now all of a sudden you're here and you're saying, well, I want to use that excuse again. But by your testimony, you say your neighbor is wonderful, the kids are wonderful, they're always visible, and it shows that she's doing a lot of good training and stuff like that. You're giving her a lot of kudos here, but yet now all of a sudden you're like, no, I don't like it.
Right. And I do understand what you're saying. And she is good at her job. My problem is we experienced those pens right next to our house. She was breeding dogs. She wasn't boarding dogs. She wasn't putting up pens next to, you know, our property. This is kind of a, like, it's just gotten a lot bigger than we had bargained for. The breeding of the dogs was okay because it was clear in the back of her property. We weren't looking at it. We could put up with that kind of noise, but now what is proposed is, I might get this wrong, the rescue, the kennels, the training. I don't know if she's still gonna do breeding. It's like, it's grown exponentially. And maybe if, we wouldn't even be here if she was still just breeding dogs, because we all lived with that. You know, she breeds dogs.
Didn't you just say that she's put pens up by your fence?
She did. And that's what we really, really, really realized, like, oh my gosh, this is really what she's
But
doing.
she actually said that pens were next to the fence, and then 2 sentences later, she said that she never put pens next to the property. That's what I heard, and I wrote it down when I heard it.
No, she did put 4 pens up.
Next to your property.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
And that happened in the spring.
Okay.
And that, you know, and I don't look at that as the breeding part of it. I mean, we lived with the breeding part, and truly we wouldn't be here if she was still just breeding dogs. But now it's like gone beyond that, and that's what we don't want. So it was okay when we moved in. We knew, I mean, you know, this is what we knew we were buying into.
So, okay, so I'm gonna try and, I'm listening to you and so what was the breaking point for you? Or what is the breaking point for you? Because prior to you getting notified by the county,
Mhm.
there was no breaking point. She's been a great neighbor.
And that is, I mean, I guess that's correct. I mean, that
What's
is
the
correct.
breaking
The
point?
breaking
What
point-
happened? And you've mentioned the fires a few times, and I know that fire is fear, and I understand that. And I was a firefighter for a while, and I understand that. So I understand the trauma that all the people in the community, and that's why at the beginning of this meeting, I gave a lot of thanks and praise to all of our first responders, our firefighters, and stuff like that. I mean, because you know, right now a lot of people are in bad times, and I know it affects the whole community as a whole. So, but you've mentioned it a few times, and so what is the breaking point now with your neighbor?
Correct.
If we
I
can put
get it.
everything else aside,
Right. So the breaking point was when we got this letter. We did not realize, we had no clue that she wanted to expand her business. That was it. You know, if even putting up these 4 pens, despite the fact that those 4 pens were there and we saw the dogs being more and more stressed, we didn't like it. You know, if she hadn't have moved them, you know, we would have had to deal with it because these dogs were not in a good spot. But even despite that was temporary. We could have gone on with her just breeding dogs. But now, after we got this letter and found out that her business was going to be increased, that was the breaking point. And that's basically what we don't want to have happen.
okay, commissioners?
Nothing else. I'm good.
Mr. Baca, and according to 154, how many pets again? We talked about this at the beginning. How many pets per residential? The 2?
Chairman Commissioners, so total pets for a rural residential zoning district, maximum is going to be one dog per 3,500 square feet. And that's specific to that individual dog. That does not include the full area. That's the areas designated specifically for those animals.
But that's as a pet.
That is correct. That's different from a
So it's
commercial
different, which
operation
goes
or
into
commercial kennel or
kennels and
anything
stuff
like that.
that. So, you know, is that all?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So, what's the difference between having a business and living in a residential area? I mean, can anybody come in here and just do a business?
Anybody can come in here and ask permission. And that is what we are here for. This commission stands as judges to see if the options that they bring forward before us are viable or not. And every situation is a different situation. Not everybody is the same. And there's extenuating circumstances. There's also the testimony from friends, neighbors, colleagues, you know, stuff like that. We also do departmental reviews that goes through everything through the county that gives us a picture of where that individual stands in the county. So yeah, anybody can come and ask for that permission. It's up to us to grant that permission. And that's why and since I've been here, which I've been here 5, 6 years now, and I really want people such as yourself. I love the testimony that people like all of you bring forth, because, and I will give you all the time in the world. You know, I'm not like, you have 3 minutes, go sit down. I want to hear what people say, because that's where good decisions are made. The more information you give us, then the more information we have to make the proper decisions. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess, I've always lived in like a tract home neighborhood, you know, where there's no way, you know, you're gonna put a kennel in there because of the zoning. So, you know, I always thought we were safe, that, you know, something like this couldn't happen, you know, that would, I feel it would compromise my property, to have a kennel, you know, fence away.
You had, you know, and I'm just being devil's advocate. I'm not, you know, so I have not made any decisions here or anything like that. We haven't had discussion or anything like that. But if you had, on the amount of property that is to the north of you, if you had 5, 6, 7 horses and a donkey or cows or something like that, and they were making a mess and they were baying all day long, you know, the donkeys, or if they were pooping all day long, and if the neighbors weren't picking it up and the smell was getting to you and stuff like that, I mean, it could happen in any situation, you know. So I don't want you to look, and everything that I've heard from you and your husband and your neighbors and the petitioner, it seems like you all as a community have this liking and respect for each other, you know. And so that's one of the things that we also look at. We don't want to, you know, hurt the community, even your small little community there. And so we've got a lot to think about and a lot, you know, to weigh out on this, you know. So, but, you know,
Great. And thank you for answering that. You know, and I don't, you know, you never want to cheat a man out of his trade, right? This is Laura's business. However, you know, take it somewhere else, you know, right? And that's our bottom line, you know. This is our backyard.
Thank you.
okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Yeah, come on. I know that you're dying, you're gnawing at the bit, you know, and I know that this probably, um, can I give you just a word of advice right now?
Please.
Give us like 5, 10 minutes on this, and then I'll bring you forward.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Let it sink in, because I know that that's what we're doing. We're letting it sink in right now. Okay. So if you just give us 5, 10 minutes, and then I will bring you up and I will give you all the time that you want. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. What are we thinking?
Hang on.
Huh?
An additional question?
No, you had your opportunity. I mean, I gave you plenty of time, and I'm not, you know, so like I had her sit back down. I gave you plenty of time, sir. So Mr. Snyder, I mean, I'm not trying to be rude here. Okay. So we've got a lot of information to go over right now. And, you know, as time goes, you know, you always, oh, I wish I would have said that, but that opportunity was given. So, okay. This one's tough. This one's tough.
Yeah.
You know, it really is tough. And and this isn't my district, but,
Well, I see 2 of the neighbors that are from residential areas,
Mhm.
which are lots in a,
right.
Community.
Track houses, like they said.
yeah, exactly.
And so they're not used to the more rural area. It's
Exactly.
it's labeled residential rural, and and when I went on that, even some of the neighbors had testified, well, it's more rural than residential. And all of the neighbors testified that they already had knowledge of the activities that was going on. Now, I understand that she's wanting to expand the activities there, and it is a conditional use. So this is something that.
Can there be stipulations put on that?
And I think that part of the stipulations would be, because if, Mr. Baca, correct me if I'm wrong, the conditional use is only for the property the one on the east side, correct?
Chairman Commissioners, yes. So this is a home occupation conditional
Right.
use.
So-
So it does apply strictly to the property where the residence is located,
Right.
where the business owner resides.
Right. So in no way, shape, form, or fashion can she use the property that is on the west side to do any of that with.
Chairman Commissioner, that's correct. As it currently sits,
Right.
this request is strictly for the property
So-
with the
so
residence.
all boarding, all kenneling, all training, everything has to be maintained in that property, and it can't be taken out of that property into the front property, even though she is the owner of both properties, right?
Chairman Commissioners, that's correct. Based on the request in front of you today, that is correct. It is strictly just the parcel of land that her
Right.
residence is on.
And according to one of the neighbors, she's got 3 or 4 pens that are built right against the
Well,
fence.
at the time, but not now.
Okay.
Quarantine set when I brought dogs in.
Okay. Okay. So on the conditional use, it's only that property on
Yeah, yeah.
the east side. And on the conditional use, I'm sure that if this were to get passed, animal control would have to go out there and do another review, make sure that there's not overcrowding, overuse, or anything like that. Because even though she would have the opportunity to do more, have more animals there.
I think one of the concerns was the fact that the neighbors didn't think animal control would set a limit. If they're overrun, they're going to just give all the dogs to her, and all of a sudden she's full of dogs.
Yeah, no, that's.
You know, and I don't think that's.
And I don't think she's getting her dogs from animal control. I think she's getting her dogs if she's boarding. And I happen to have knowledge of this because there's a border that is up on the West Mesa, and she boards and kennels dogs and pets, and so it's like if you're going out of town and you're like, hey, I'm gonna put my dog there, and I don't know what the rates are, like maybe
$35 a day.
I was gonna say I think it's about $50 a day. So if you're getting it for 35, you're lucky. But
I know.
anyways, and so then you put your animals there, and then they water and feed them, and they'll take them out for walks, and they clean up, and all that stuff, and they make sure that they're good while you're gone, and then you come back, and you're like, hey, come here, little Fluffy, and it's all good and dandy. So I'm just saying, my dog's named 45. But so there, I think there is a need, because the animal control won't do that. Once the animal control doesn't board dogs like that.
No.
So there's a need in the community. So, and I'm just,
From what I understand, we could also do a stipulation, correct?
yes,
Okay, so she gets more than so many complaints within a certain amount of time.
right,
You know,
because,
You're looking at a criminal offense, you're looking at possible civil offense.
well, I don't know about going that far, but because it is a conditional use, if she gets complaints, then she might be good for the first 2 years, but then after that it's not going to be re-given, because it has to be redone, right, Mr. Baca?
Chairman Commissioners, that's correct. So she will need to renew every 2 years for this type of a permitted use. One thing I do want to point out is because this is in a rural residential zoning district, as a home occupation conditional use, the primary use of the land still needs to show as being a residence. The primary
Right,
use of the land needs
right.
to be a residence. So if at any point the commercial activity takes over and becomes the primary use, then it definitely would no longer be allowed in this area.
Right.
So that
Okay,
is something
and-
that we also need to look at for them.
Right.
I guess what I was saying is within the 2-year period, if she receives a certain number of complaints that are justified, that are
Yes.
investigated to be
Yes.
true and accurate.
Would the kennels be considered part of the residence then?
Chairman Commissioner, no, that would be considered an accessory structure.
And you just said it needed to be part of the residence.
Or any allowable structures in that zoning designated district. So a dog kennel isn't allowed. So if she were to not get approved today, she can still keep a dog in a kennel in that property.
Yeah, she's still gonna have, and she would probably, if she wanted to revert back to breeding, she could probably revert back to breeding. I mean, I guess. But yeah. But, I mean,
If we could put a condition on the conditional use for the numbers of dogs?
no, that would have to go through animal control and they would give the recommended number.
Chairman Commissioners,
Because it's under regulations, right?
yeah, exactly. So there is a license that if approved today, she will still need to get a license from the animal control director in order to operate
Right.
what she's asking for. The conditions that are allowed to be implemented on a conditional use. So are may include but are not limited to the following: increasing the required parcel area or yard dimensions, limiting the height, size, or location of buildings and structures, controlling the location and number of vehicle access points, increasing the road width, increasing the number of required off-street parking or loading spaces, limiting the number, size, location, or lighting of signs, requiring fencing, screening, or landscaping to protect adjacent or nearby property, prescribing exterior finish for buildings or additions thereto, or prescribing a time limit within which to fulfill any established conditions.
Mr. Bucker, refresh my memory. When it comes to department reviews, is animal control included in that?
Yeah.
Yes. And their review was?
Chairman Commissioners, actually, animal control is not included in those departmental reviews.
Yeah, but they will be when she goes to get the
No, I
permitting.
understand that.
Yeah. So, but if she's not doing nothing now, there's nothing, it's like a lot of the departmental reviews, they're like, okay, what are we reviewing? Oh, you're reviewing,
I'm just wondering if there's any kind of history with this particular address with animal control.
Chairman Commissioner, so it's my understanding, as a matter of fact, that animal control did respond to this property. And that is a matter of fact, that is what initiated a lot of this process. Is animal control notified her that she would need to get licensed, which would also require the business registration. At that point, we identified this as something that would require a home occupation conditional use because of the extent of the activity. So this has been identified and has been called out by animal control. And it has been, they have been received calls to go to this property as far as I understand.
So there is some history.
As far as I understand, yes, sir.
should we bring her back up?
Yeah.
Laura, would you come back forward? Do you have anything to say or do you want to hear from us?
A few things to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Animal control did not come out because they received calls that they had a problem with me. Animal control came out because in the process of preparing everything to be ready to start this business, which takes multiple steps, I started building online recognition as well, website, Google business listings. Animal control saw my Google business listing and showed up at my gate, knocked on the gate, said, "Is this you?" I said, "Yes." And they said, "Well, can we see your dogs?" I said, "Yes." And they said, "Well, to do this, you need to have a kennel license permit." And I said, "Yes, I'm still in the process of building." And he goes, "Well, you need to do it now." So I said, "Okay." And I started the process for doing all of it now, even though I was not to the point yet of actively being ready to breed yet. That's what started it with animal control. And this here puts me about 90% of the way through that process now, to where the last step is to go back to them for my actual permit an inspection with animal control following this. The neighbors, the Schneiders, that said I put dogs near their fence line. That was a temporary, and I told them at the time that was a temporary 3-week, maybe 4-week time period where I brought in 4 new dogs that I found out had been exposed to some respiratory something that was similar to kennel cough. So rather than moving them straight into and potentially contaminating all of my dogs, I set up 4 temporary kennels at the far end of my property, quarantined them for 3 weeks to make sure they were safe. And then we tore the kennels down, cleaned everything back up, and moved them all into the back. It was literally a one-time temporary thing in the interest of all the dogs' best health. Those dogs have never been up there again. Kennels are gone, nothing is there. As far as the fencing in the back, somebody said it was 4-inch fencing. It's not. It's 5-foot tall pipe fencing with double rails and welded horse panel, 2 inches wide, 4 inches tall, stretched.
Yeah, it's
and
called 4-inch
wrapped
cattle pen.
all the way around. Not
called-
not even the 4-inch squares. It's horse 2 inch wide,
If it's 4-inch, it's called 4-inch cattle panel.
horse panel. But
I know what she's talking about.
it's very secure.
Then she's doing the 2-inch.
It's 2 inches wide, 4 inches tall, and they weld it. It's a
Yeah,
pan,
it's welded wire.
it's a
like
panel, not a roll.
And every wire
Oh,
is wrapped. It's
panel.
the most secure fence you can put up.
That's right.
My dogs don't get out. My
Yep.
dogs don't go over, under, through the fence. My dogs aren't on the neighbors' properties. My neighbors' chickens come onto my property all the time. And instead of letting my dogs eat them as they would, I put my dogs up and I call the neighbors and ask them if they'd like opportunity to take their chickens back so they're not chicken dinner. But my dogs do not go onto their property.
Laura, question. It seems like the main concern here is going to be the noise. With the number of dogs you have right now, which is kind of undetermined, the number of dogs you have right now, the noise seems to be a concerning issue with the neighbors. Have many, many more dogs than you have right now.
What I'm asking
Are you gonna?
What I'm asking for is not necessarily more dogs. Literally I'm putting more words on this to give myself a little more room as far as defining how I would like to open a business. But yes, we want to take in several training dogs on occasion. Yes, we will have our own dogs here for training on occasion. Yes, we take back clients' dogs for training on occasion. But I don't want to go out and bring in 15, 20 outside dogs for training because it's myself and my 4 kids. And I can't have more dogs there than what we reasonably spend time with training every day.
Okay, but my question is, dogs you have right now possibly causing a nuisance with neighbors. You have more dogs than this, possibly causing a nuisance with neighbors or greater nuisance. Or are you gonna?
Well, if for the Schneiders, who have the property down at the end near our gate. Now, I have cross-fenced my yard. My dogs stay in the back for the most part unless I choose to let a couple up into the front. They don't even go near their yard anymore. But I can't even walk down my own driveway and out my own gate with my dogs, with my kids, with anything, without their dogs bellowing up and down on the fence. I can't walk over to their fence to talk to them without their dogs bellowing up and down on the fence. I can snap my fingers and tell my dog, sit here, stop. And I can't carry on a conversation with them because their dogs are bellowing on at the fence. Okay.
I understand that, and that is a problem.
They literally have to collar their dogs and drag them on.
More dogs, that's my question. How are you gonna stop the barking in the backyard?
I've removed the dogs that have run from the front section of my property. Just cross-fenced them out of it because their dogs wouldn't stop barking.
And
One time that they did call me and tell me, hey, my dogs come out and bark at your dogs at 6:45 in the morning and I can't get my dogs to stop. Well, I told her, call me when it happens the next morning. And at 6:45 in the morning, when she couldn't get her dogs to stop barking at mine, I went out onto my porch, I corrected my dogs and they came back and there was no more problem.
And you understand that if this were to pass, that you could not, any of the dogs that you're boarding or anything like that cannot be in that front yard.
Yes,
that would be
yes,
against the
yes,
conditional use. You understand that, right?
yes. The
So
front,
now-
the only
now-
ones that
now-
would potentially be in the front would be my
Would be your
personal
personal
yard
pet dog.
dogs.
And those you could walk up and down your driveway and whatever, but any of the dogs that are being boarded or anything, they have to stay on the property that the conditional use.
Yes.
You understand that, right?
Absolutely. And back there, it's double fenced. They're in smaller play yards, smaller play areas, and not even up on directly on my property line.
Mm.
I do not mind if there are times when they want to go out and work on their trees or their yard, their orchard, their field in the afternoon.
Well,
If they let me know, I will take my dogs and I'll put them in the house. I'll
So-
put them up so they can enjoy their time.
how would you feel about maybe putting like privacy fence or privacy, like harp or something like that on the fence so that if they were to be out in their backyard, then the dogs don't get a visual on them. And then that would cut down on any possible noise interaction.
You know how they mentioned they planted a row of apricot trees? Continuing down from that row of apricot trees on my side of the fence, I just, within the past 6 months, planted an entire row of, like 120-foot row of evergreen privacy trees. Green thuya. Green thuya giants is what they're called. They're evergreen privacy trees.
Right, and
They're
and
straight
over
up.
time, they're gonna
So-
make a great privacy fence,
Um,
but for the time being, what are your feelings about, like maybe putting, and I know that that's an added cost, but if you were to maybe put some tarp or something like that to help negate the interaction.
There's not much that goes up on fences in New Mexico with the winds that we get that doesn't tear down and disintegrate and turn into cattle shreds
I understand. I'm just,
within less than a fraction of a year's worth of use.
right, okay.
If it's chain link fence, you can weave the little
Sure.
sticks through it, but chain link fence.
Yeah, it's not
also
gonna
the
be
dogs can
perfect.
worry their way
Yeah.
through and then they're back out again.
You have a very good grasp of what's going on, and I understand, and I appreciate that.
And the lights, I'm not putting in more lights. I'm not bringing in much more traffic. In fact, I doubt anybody who is neighboring and watching knows what traffic comes in my driveway.
Sure.
That isn't my own normal household traffic because I have that little of it. It's that quiet. Lights that I have that people have mentioned are, yes, I have security lights on my house because I have an ex-husband who beat the active living shit out
you
of
don't-
myself, threatened my kids,
Right.
is incarcerated, has been letting out on for breaking parole. Every month they get him in and keep him for a few months, they let him back out. I have a restraining order against him. He has threatened to kill me. He has threatened to take my kids. He has said if he gets his hand on my kids, I'll never see him again. He'll run for Mexico and I'll never see him again. I lock my front gates at night. I have dogs in my yard. I have lights around my home.
Okay,
I have reason for that. The dogs that run the fence lines and do bark at anybody who approaches.
Chairman, Commissioners,
Uninvited.
just wanted to make a note regarding the screening. So under the standards and limitations of 154.168 Home Occupations Ordinance, number 8, there shall be no visible evidence of the conduct of a home occupation from any road or adjacent property other than permitted signs. Any outdoor storage or outdoor work areas shall be effectively screened by vegetation or by a site obscuring fence.
could you make that happen?
I've planted a row of 10 trees already along one side. I've got clippings started right now to plant an entire row across the back fence line.
How long before those grow up to be big enough to,
Well, it's too hot to plant now, so it'd be next spring that I could put them in the ground.
could you,
I'm still literally building my pipe fences right
I
now.
understand
I
that.
have my perimeter fences,
I
I have
understand
perimeter fences in, because that's what makes sure my dogs don't get out. But I'm still literally building, I do this myself and four
Excuse me,
kids.
ma'am. Will you move that microphone closer to you?
Move the microphone towards you.
Thank you. A little closer. Yeah, so we can pick it up on the recording.
We weld, we cut pipe, we dig holes, we mix cement, we plant them, we do the welding, we do the painting, we stretch the wire, me and my 4 kids. We work our asses off to make this better. So yes, I can do more. And We have been doing more every single year to get to even this point.
So I have a neighbor that has a kennel with three, I don't even know what kind of dogs they are, pretty large dogs. And they were barking, doing the barking every time something went down the road, whatever. He put up, it's a real nice kennel, but he put up a green, almost like a,
That shade netting?
yeah,
Yeah.
that all the way around that thing. Those dogs quit barking, done.
And it lasts for less than a
It's been
year
4 years that's been up.
inside with the dogs.
Well, that fabric is on the outside of his fence, of that fence for the kennel. It's not in with the dogs where they can rip it up with their feet or anything. But what I'm telling you is there is a material you can put on that fence that that will stop their visual to these neighbors and possibly help that barking out and help those neighbors out from having a problem with that. It did with those three dogs. I'm a witness to it. I saw it happen because it burned my butt that they were barking all the time. And I'm telling you, it quit completely.
And it seems like your neighbors come here with quite a bit of dread in their heart because they look at you as a good neighbor and maybe as a sign to them saying, hey, you know, if I put this uh, uh, shade tarp or whatever on the fence as a temporary thing for the first year or two until the bushes start growing up. And if you asked them if you could put it on their side of the fence, which I would think that it would probably be responsive to, you know, it's just a sign of goodwill and it's kind of makes it a win-win for everybody. And I know that it's an added expense, but even if you could start panelizing it a little bit, if Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, and they have it on sale, and maybe you get the red one on sale for, one weekend, and then 4th of July comes along, you get another 50 feet of the green one. And it's like, I'm really trying to find a point of where everybody.
I as well. And to some degree, I'm frustrated because I have been here before either of them moved in. And I have been doing my best.
we
And
took
I
that-
have improved my property every single year by leaps and bounds since I got in there. I mean, it's unrecognizable
Right.
at this point. When they spoke about, oh, there were a lot of dogs and they were always barking, they were in chain link runs out in the middle
Sure,
of the dirt. Now they're under shelters, they're in my house, they're in built play yards, not ghetto runs out
Right.
in the brush. I have planted 50 trees in the past 2 years. I'm watering 50 trees
Right.
twice a week. I'm planting trees specifically to give neighbors more privacy, less visual. And they do have my phone number, and rather than, maybe I understand, okay, I don't want to bother her, but also I have flat out offered, and the offer stands. If my dog is being a bother, all it takes is one simple phone call. Hey, you know what? We wanted to come out and work on our field this afternoon. Would you mind putting your dogs up? I'd do it in a heartbeat. It's that simple. It can be that easily neighborly. Yeah, you want to go do yard work? Let me put my stuff up. They go out and they burn their brush. I go work inside because it smokes me out. I don't complain about that. If they let me know they had a problem with the dogs at a certain time, they wanted to be out there and would like more quiet, or it was being a bother, I would absolutely do my best to put that up. But this is my opportunity. It's rural. It's right up against the bosque. It's cattle pasture on one side. It's an empty weed lot with a row of trees on the other side. It's as far back as I could place my dogs from where they would bother anybody. And with all due respect, I'm doing my best to try to make sure it is quiet and peaceful and not a bother to anybody. And I
You have
have
4 children,
other
right?
opportunity.
You have 4 children.
I've got 4 children.
Okay.
I have
So
nothing.
you have 2 of them with you here.
Yes.
And are these the 2 oldest?
No, these are my 2 youngest.
These are the
My
2
2
youngest?
older are at a youth camp this week.
You want to bring them up?
I live where I
Introduce-
live right now because of the
introduce us.
grace of my parents.
Okay, introduce us.
This is my youngest, my Emily, and this is my second youngest, Riley. And we've got Hope and Tristan up above them. Their dad's gone.
My daughter's name is Emily and my.
I am everything that they've got, and I fight tooth and nail for everything I
You
can
dog
give them.
trainers too?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
What do you think about what Mama's doing?
I think it's cool.
You guys help out?
Yeah.
How do you guys help out?
We help train dogs, we help water trees, we help feed the dogs, and we get paid for doing that.
Do you enjoy it?
Yes?
And your mama said that you guys get homeschooled.
Are you just worried? You don't have to be worried. Look, you don't have to be worried. He just wants to ask questions. You don't have to worry. Okay? I don't have anywhere else to go because my husband,
I heard that. I don't, I
I'm
heard that.
bankruptcy, I'm
Go ahead.
done. I live there by the grace of my parents, and by the end of this year, I want to be buying that, but I
Okay.
don't have even the credit after what he left me.
Okay,
to
you're
go
gonna
to
have your
try to
daughter
get
sit down.
into somebody.
I didn't want to upset them. Okay, so.
You're all right. Okay? Don't worry.
Okay. Is there anything else, Laura, that you want to say?
No, just that I will do everything I can within reason to be respectful and accommodating to my neighbors as I have already.
Okay, I understand that.
But I'm not going to back down from saying, hey, I have poured my heart and soul into trying to be able to start a business where I can not only support my children from home as I teach them myself too,
Okay.
and give them opportunity to start building their own savings accounts so that they have a better life and they have opportunity for college.
Okay. Commissioners?
I'm good.
Does anybody want to make a motion or you want me to?
Well, it's your district.
No, this is not my district,
Oh.
but as the chairman. So, okay, so,
I'll make a motion.
I'll make the motion because I'm the chairman, so I don't have a problem doing this, and, this is one of those ones that it can go either way. But you know what? I mean, I'm very impressed by the petitioner. And I'm impressed by the witnesses as well, because they brought a lot of valid points to it. But I think that this is where part of our job is not only just following the rules, but also looking at the heart and soul of this community.
Yep.
And so as chairman, as that, I am going to make a motion to approve. Yes, sir.
Everybody has resources. Okay? If there's a problem, you utilize your resources. If there's a problem, you call animal control. If there's a fire, you call fire department. You see a person entering somebody's yard, you call the police department. Utilize those resources. They're there for it. And once you have a history of having to utilize those resources, then something will be done. And it may not be very friendly to the person who you're complaining about. You work very much against it. So with that in mind, please use your.
There's a motion on the table. Is
I
there-
second it.
There's a motion with a second. Any discussion on the motion in a second?
Nope.
Call the vote?
Commissioner Chavez, how do you vote?
Okay.
Commissioner Freeman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman Sublett, how do you vote?
Yes. All right, moving right along. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
Moving right along. Action item number 8. Next meeting of the Valencia County Planning and Zoning Commission will be Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025 at 5 p.m. Is that good for everybody?
Yep.
Action item number 9, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
I move to adjourn.
There's a motion with a second. Any discussion on the motion in the section? All the vote?
Commissioner Chavez, how do you vote?
Yay.
Commissioner Freeman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman Sublett, how do you vote?
Yes, this meeting is adjourned.